I'm going back to the old intro. The South Stands Live intro I didn't like as much. So. Going back to the fan.
So you notice I got a different mic that's hooked into that, so it should sound a lot better. So, okay, that's broadcasting.
Man, I'm a little nervous. I'm just gonna have to pretend it's not there.
What?
That?
Why? You did it.
Thing.
You did it last week.
Those people.
You did it last week and it was fine.
I know. I couldn't see.
Hang on. Before we get started, I'm going to tweet out the link, and I need you to. I want you to retweet it.
Okay.
Who has more followers?
Me.
He does.
Well,
a lot of fakes on there.
Otherwise, he
figured.
Bot followers.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I'm
all about it. I like to spend as much money on using Twitter as possible.
You and Eric Johnson apparently. I'm kidding.
I was trying to think about. Okay, let's see. It's gonna be a delay on it. All right, we're getting to it. Okay. All right, let me get this. Let me tweet it out. Okay, let's see.
Fuck, and I knew the Cavs were going to beat the Thunder tonight. I knew it. Oh, man, people are really freaking out about the Shaun White on the Twitter machine.
Nice.
Yeah, my notifications yesterday were like 800 people followed Chloe Kim.
Dude, I'd follow her if she were walking down the hall. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Love that. Flat Asian.
Hey,
she's not an immigrant.
We're going to talk about that.
What's her name again? I forgot.
Chloe Kim.
Chloe Kim. That's right.
Right? Or is it?
Chloe Kim. Chloe Kim.
Chloe Gold.
All right. I just tweeted it, so you got it.
All right. I'm looking for it. All right.
Just look for me.
There it is.
I guess I didn't tag you in it. So,
so
that's going. I think we're ready to go. Are you ready?
I've got Freya ready.
Okay, I'm going
to
give you the signal and let you know when we're ready to rock and roll.
Podcasting from the Sportique Studios, where in the tradition of the Olympiad, we're getting faster, higher, and definitely stronger smelling. This is the South Stands Denver Fancast. I'm Colin Daniels with guest producer Bronco Jeff. Avalanche Insider and Fantasy Hockey also ran Ryan Bowling.
Hey.
And your host, John Reedy. Yeah!
Woo! Welcome to the show, everybody. Yeah. It's great to be back. South Stands Live. Officially, South Stands Live. It's live, baby.
Cheers.
In vivo.
It really is awkward and uncomfortable for me. I'm not used to being seen. I have a face for radio.
It's,
as they say.
Trust me. I think we all do. I think we're all used to that. So it's no big deal. Just get into it. People are tuning in all over the world. They're watching us sit here in this orange room and do our thing. So it's great to be back, and it's great to have our good friend Ryan Bowling back with us. Ryan, it's been so long, and we're going to get into why it's been so long since you've been back. But it's a pleasure to have you back in the studio, and it's good to see your face.
I'm so happy to be back. I brought you Valentine's goodies.
It's awesome. You can probably see them right here. There's some Valentine's bag right there. We're going to get into that.
I think that is the first Valentine's gift we've got.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. Appreciate it. But it's great to have you back. And as you could tell, we've got a guest producer tonight. It's Bronco Jeff. He's filling in for Scott. And Scott highly recommended to Bronco Jeff to come in and spin some tunes and push the buttons. And are we good over there? You didn't mute us or anything? It's okay.
No, so far so
Okay.
good. And man, Jeff, he knows that board like the back of his hand. So I think he's going to do just fine.
It's really
be
good. It's good to have you here, Jeff. Appreciate
The vote of confidence. Thanks for the recommendation, Scott. It's big shoes to fill, but I'm looking forward to giving it a roll.
You're gonna have to get up on that mic next time because no one can hear you. Yeah.
Get up on it.
Get up on that mic.
There you go. That's a
Thank
little
you,
bit-
Scott, for the shout out, the recommendation. It's a big shoe to fill, but I'll go for it.
I've seen his shoes. It's
They're not that
not
big.
very big.
So yeah, we're back. We're piecing this together. It's good stuff. I think it's gonna be good, and everyone can watch it live. You can see Colin's profile live. It's gonna be awesome. So, but yeah. So Ryan, you're back with us. We're glad to see you here. It's been a while because you, for many years, you were one of the first guests, original guests over in the old studio.
Oh yeah, it's back. I mean, back in the very early days of the Fancast, and at a time when we were glad if anybody would do the show.
And
Frankly.
that's right. Yeah, it's true. And I think I came in contact with Ryan via Twitter. He was writing about hockey, and I said, hey, why don't you come on and we can talk some hockey and anything else. And that's how we first met.
Were you were with Burgundy Brigade, am I correct?
Not then. I
Not
think it
then.
was my Burgundy blog back then. I was horrified to come in and do that. You guys were like the big podcast stars, and I was
Whoa.
a little blogger guy.
No, there was a time, John.
Oh,
There was a time.
I didn't
yeah.
realize that.
We were like
There was a
that.
time.
Yeah.
Well, you did
Like
fine.
Captain and Tennille.
And
There
we-
was a time.
We missed having you, and you informed us that you actually were a guest in the makeshift studio in Colin's house, which I had totally forgotten about, and Colin forgot about too.
I just remember cats.
There was a lot. Yeah, that's it.
Cats. That was my house.
Yeah,
That was right before the foreclosure. I'm just kidding.
Okay. But so you are, and as you pointed out, a lot of people have been here many times, but you've been to all three studios, which we didn't know existed until just now. But yes, you're back now. And the reason why you had a hiatus is because you went to work for a professional sports team, and you couldn't sully your good name by coming onto this podcast and have Colin say something horrible about somebody who you worked for.
I think part of it was given my access to the team, they didn't want me in a situation where I could say something I shouldn't be saying. And that aside, even if I thought about coming in and being in and not talking hockey, I was like, we toe the line sometimes, maybe.
Well, let's say, yeah, because I think you mentioned that. You said, oh, maybe I can come in and just hang out. And then I thought, well, what if then something gets said? And then you're sitting over there really uncomfortable. We had a moment at one point, and this is why I wish we had video back then, because we had a moment where we were told not to talk about a specific thing. And then all of a sudden, Colin started talking about that specific thing, and there was like hand waving and kind of like, oh no, and then we kind of like, I kind of steered another way, and then I had to edit it out, and so that happened. So I can understand, your reluctance or your boss's reluctance to do it. So, but we're glad to have you. I enjoyed.
If I were in the PR department for any team, the last thing I would want is any of my people.
Oh no,
coming
hell
to this
no, oh no,
podcast.
it's a fucking nightmare. So
Yeah, and it's part of the point of the entire thing that access isn't part of
Yeah,
our deal.
That's what I admire about you guys.
well, so let's put it that way. If and there's probably things you probably wouldn't comment on, but if you're working for a team and you come on to something like that, it might just be an uncomfortable thing, because I'd say, hey, what about this? And you're like, well, I can't talk about that, and then it would be like a bad interview.
How are you guys going to get rid of Ryan O'Reilly?
You guys, we PR spin it. I've been around PR enough. You just, say what everybody knows already. You're like, I swear, that's all I know.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably what goes on a lot over there, right? And not just them, any sports
But
team.
it depends on how you want to market it. Some teams I feel like are maybe more progressive with the way they let their staff out, or organizations. You guys get some high profile people in here.
Yeah.
Media personalities.
Oh, I don't think anybody at KKFN. I don't think anybody at Altitude TV or radio which would tell any of their hosts not to come on the show.
Well,
So that's I think that's nice.
but it's different though for a
for a team employee, absolutely.
for a radio person or a writer. It's very different than a team employee who
Yeah.
can't say, yeah, I think this dude in this organization sucks balls. You can't say that even if you believe it, but where you could get DMAC in here and you can get him rolling and talking, shit about people. So, okay, let's have you talk shit about some people. Let's go. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's about time.
We're not going to have you do that. But no, I am fascinated by that. And I want to ask you some questions about it. But do you, I mean, it seems pretty glamorous, but I'm sure it sucks like every other job. Do you miss it at all? Do you want to get back into that type of thing?
It's funny because you hate the hours when you're going through the grind and then you get out of it and you're like, man, I really wish.
I'm sure bored. I wish I were at the arena.
Off season, you're like, I can't wait to get to off season where I have time to do stuff. And like 2 weeks in, you're like, this sucks.
I want to get back in the magic.
Yeah. Get on the road, get some hockey playing, all that.
Yeah, I can see how that would go. So it's fascinating to me, and I think we've had ex-players, stuff like that, but I don't know if we've had like someone who worked for a team in here. So there's lots of questions I want to get into that. So we can talk about that in a little bit. But so Jeff, how are you enjoying your experience?
Oh, I love it. This is a dream come true. It's my first time in any podcast studio.
Really?
Yeah, it's all new to me.
Not even someone's kitchen table?
No kitchen tables, no countertops. Yeah, this is big. This is the big time for me.
Well, this isn't a bad podcast studio. And I take this opportunity to plug Ryan's podcast, the Avalanche Talk. It's a Mile High Sports product. So, Colin, don't offend Mile High Sports. We'll save that for next week.
There's no doubt I'll offend Mile High Sports at some point.
But
it's all in good fun.
Okay,
that's what I love about Mile High Sports. They get it. They understand.
We've got a controversy we're going to address here very soon, maybe in the second quarter with Colin and some.
This is so exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. But you've got a Avalanche podcast, and I believe, and this might not bode well for you. We had the last co-host of that same podcast on here. Zach Fogg was on here, and then he no longer worked on that anymore. So I don't know if that bodes well for you or not.
You're a career killer.
It might be. That's definitely something that could be just ascribed to the show. So tell us a little bit about your show. Avalanche based, obviously something you know about. How does your experience kind of help you with that? Can you, when topics get brought up, do you kind of go, oh, listen, let me tell you, I know what I'm talking about here. Do you kind of get that? Do you get that vibe with your talk?
I feel like I do that more on my beer league hockey team than I do on the podcast. But yeah, we talk Avalanche stuff. We had Jan Heda on last week.
I listened to it. Yeah.
With JJ Jerez, is kind of, he says we're partners in this thing, but really it's his thing, and I just run with it. And he does rundowns, and we talk abs.
It's cool. Yeah, I listened to that, and it was good. And I think I find athlete interviews to be super boring unless they're ex-athletes, and then they actually give you a little more than they would if they're actually playing. So the athletes, when they're playing, seem to be a little more buttoned up and aren't going to give you too much. But when they're done playing, they're kind of like, whatever. He did hold back a few things, but I think they're a little looser when they're done playing.
Plus, I know him fairly well, so I think he comes into it relaxed more than maybe some would. And it still took him a little time to open up, but once we got going, I thought it was pretty good.
Well, you bring up bragging to your beer league people, but see, that's actually what I do when I'm playing fruit boot hockey. I tell people I know you, and I go, well, I'm in a fantasy hockey league with Ryan Bolden, and he works for the Avs. No, a bunch of guys know. They know who you are. So yeah. So I always bring that up, and I hold that over their heads.
Usually we would argue about something out on the ice, and I'd be like, well, I just get paid to write about hockey and watch it. What would I know? Let's go with your plan.
Yeah, what would I know? Exactly. So no, it's good. It's good to drop that now and then. I can kind of impress those guys. So
I tell you what, I think the Colorado Avalanche get with not within the mainstream media, radio and whatnot, the secondary media, the digital media coverage of the Colorado Avalanche in this town is very, very good. There's a lot to be had. There's a lot of content. There are a lot of very enthusiastic people covering the game. Adrian Dater is back covering the game again, which is awesome. And I just think, right, and the Nuggets the same way. I just think from a blogger, podcaster perspective, this city has a lot of really, really good people covering these things like a blanket. And I'm hopeful that the teams recognize that. And that's a question that I would pose to you, because from the inside, having worked for a major organization.
I think it's interesting how the dynamic has changed from the organization standpoint, where you didn't have, they're traditionally old school and not allowing bloggers in the press box and that kind of thing. But it started to change. It changed with me. It really started to change with Adrian because he was working for Bleacher Report. Then he was working for BSN, but he has this legacy. He broke the story of the team moving to town. He broke the story of the last lockout ending. So you've got this guy with experience now working for an online-only place. So it really has changed things. What's interesting to me now is we're living through the great, Denver sports media rift going on with the media battles between different organizations. It's like, can't we all just get along?
No, I love it. More of that. I love it.
For what we do, and I think you might have noticed, really, is we watch sports right through all of you.
Yeah.
And you're a translucent layer in that mix.
Is that because they're all white? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that?
I mean, I know the sun, but translucent is harsh.
What I'm saying is, in watching sports, I like to believe I'm watching it through the media. And so from my perspective as a fan and as a commentator, that's the chain that I'm trying to talk about. And so people that do your job influence the people whose jobs I observe, on a daily basis. And so the way they craft the way a team is talked about is fascinating to me.
Well, but the way, so there there's a couple steps. So me and you compared to Nuggets players, there's quite a gap because we can't do what they're doing. But with media guys, you can, not saying you can do their job, but it's at least closer to that than the athlete is. So you can kind of be like, hey, I can kind of experience this through them because I'm closer to them than I am a 6'9", power forward.
And to me, they're more interesting people.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and that's why I come back to the interviews. The athletes, the people said a long time, oh, aren't you some athletes? I'm like, I don't want any athletes in here. I think it's boring. But you get the ex athletes, and they can
cough. Tom Nalen.
Yeah, Tom Nalen spills his guts. But there's plenty of interesting people with that. But so in the meantime, I think that's why the media people are fascinating, because you are just kind of, as a fan, you're kind of one step removed from them, and it's kind of like you're there too. So
what impresses me is how in touch you guys are with the local media, and you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on there. And even just media who cover all the sports. Like, there are times I watched with the Avalanche each season, I watched less national hockey and just focused on the Avalanche, where suddenly you're like, I'm out of touch with the rest of the league because I'm so focused on what's going on here.
Maybe you need to watch more national hockey and you do better at fantasy hockey. Maybe.
Yeah, you did.
Today I literally was like, I need to look at whatever site you guys use. I'm struggling.
No site. I just absorb the information. I just think about hockey and it just comes to me.
The NHL flows through John.
Exactly. That's exactly
the girl in first place, she has 2 goalies. I'm like, I don't even know how you're doing it with that, but it's working.
She's got a pretty good team.
Anytime a girl's in first place, something's fucked up.
Just wait. That girl's gonna whip your ass in the playoffs. So not mine though. Hold the trophy up, Ryan.
You can tell her. I said
you got to show everyone the trophy. That's Lord Bolding's cup.
That's the weakest ass trophy ever.
Humble beginnings, all right.
Yeah.
So even the Stanley Cup started as a humble.
We're gonna add to it over the years, and it'll just be a massive thing.
I got something to add to it right now.
Yeah, I know you
what
do.
I'm talking about.
Let's get into
Let's
get into the second quarter here pretty quick, and then we can.
You're gonna want to unmute that one and fade it in slow.
Yeah. He's learning. He's doing us a favor.
Oh, yeah, bring it in slow.
Yes, producer.
Oh,
Bronco Jeff.
Yeah.
There you go. Good stuff. So let's take a quick break. We'll get into the second quarter right now. You can let it roll a little bit. But not too long, damn it. There you go. That's
Oh, yeah,
good.
this is the
bring
part where
down.
it gets weird because
Yeah.
we're not talking to this, but we're talking to
Bring it
that.
down.
But it's supposed to be off the cuff.
Yeah, fair.
Well,
Unorchestrated.
it's just to then be like, hey, here's what's going on when we're not talking.
Yeah, well, I wrote a script for it.
Did you?
No, I'm just kidding.
You out? Cool.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay,
muted, so now I got to queue
You
up.
muted. So cue up another one, and then he's going to tell
I'll
you
do my little commercial.
what you're doing.
And then you can roll the next song. But first, I can. I'm so awful. I keep meaning to go back to Goodwill and see what other cool shit I can find for $24 to put up on the wall.
Is that where you get everything?
I try to find every fucking bad freight sports thing I can over there.
I've
That
got
Carmelo poster I got is fucking dope.
a bunch of
I
this
got
stuff
both
like
pairs of my dress shoes that I wore for the last 3 years at Goodwill for $5 each. I invested in a nice pair of Allen Edmonds dress shoes and then quit a
that
week later.
Broncos sunscreen. I got that at a thrift store.
I had it was like a shitty mesh jersey, but it was an Elway Broncos jersey for
nice.
like $10 at Menards.
That's thrift store. That Bronco helmet, I found that. I think Colin got most of the other stuff. That's my old iPhone case. These hats over here are ones that I've collected, and I think I got that Rockies one at a thrift store.
Oh, you'll like this.
What's that?
What was the Denver Gold?
Denver Gold,
was the
of course.
football
That was
team,
a-
right?
Yeah.
So my dad was telling me, I was like, you need to write like a Denver sports book because he used to go to everything. So he was there when they won a playoff game, or
I thought they won a championship.
maybe it was the
didn't they?
championship, and they stormed the field.
Oh wow!
And he ran down on the field, and a ref gave him a hat, and he was like, "Here, take this hat, just hide it so nobody like steals it from your taxi or whatever." So he has a hat from the USFL,
Oh, nice.
No shit.
but it doesn't say USFL or anything
Just says
on
Denver
it, which
Gold.
sucks.
Yeah.
I don't even think it says that. It's a ref's hat.
Oh, it's the refs.
Yeah, so it doesn't have the league or anything, which sucks. But
Yeah, my neighbor had a Denver Gold van. There was like a
Oh my
custom
God.
line of like Ford or Chevy vans, and it had like that
That's
logo,
sick.
like that sun in the back, and like, I mean, I guess they thought they were gonna be around longer and be bigger, but yeah.
I found some Denver Gold stuff, like at a thrift store at one point. I can't remember what it was, like a T-shirt or something like that. But
he was telling me they used to take me as a baby, him and my mom, to Pioneers games at the old
Yeah.
bar.
Oh yeah.
And so I always tell her, I'm like, see, it's your fault I like hockey. She doesn't like that I play hockey. She didn't like that I worked in hockey. I'm like, it's your fault you were taking me to games as a baby.
early on, yeah, incorporated into your brain.
I'm like, I got my dream job working for the Avalanche. And she just sent me like, oh, Red Bull's hiring. Cool stuff. I'm like, stop sending this to me.
We had a buddy of mine's birthday party was at a DU game when we were in like second grade, like no older than third grade. It was
Where was
DU.
was that? Is that on the camp? Was that on
It
the
was
campus?
Yeah.
No, it was at McNichols because it was the DUCC game.
Okay, the big one.
Well,
Yeah.
where was the old stadium at DU?
I think it was right where
Right where it is now.
Yeah. I don't know, I was young.
Somebody hung from the rafters, like before the third period. Somebody climbed up there and unfurled this big bed sheet that had like this crude spray paint job of somebody giving a blow job, and it said "CC sucks dick," and it was like so well placed
Yes.
that nobody could take it down. So it hung for the entire third quarter.
That's
And like,
amazing.
all my buddies and I growing up, like we loved DU. We weren't into CC, and like it was just like
Are you from the Springs?
No, from Littleton.
It's disappointing for me going to DU games now because I went there and we were so rowdy in the student section.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, the pep band's gonna play the song 5 times, and the chants are lame.
Goddamn millennials can't get their
Ruined
shit.
everything. They
drink
ruined
your ass
boobs.
off at those
Hooters
games.
going out of
You gotta
business
drink
because they
all the way
ruined boobs.
till the end.
Ruined boobs. Ruined. What did they? Sears. They ruined Sears too. Sears went out of business because of millennials. I guess that's what I read.
We had
Sears went out of
somebody
business
came-
because it
catalog.
sold a bunch of shit nobody wanted.
Yes.
Craftsman.
when I was a freshman, somebody came through the dorms and they were selling shirts that was DU's mascot Ruckus, cross-checking CC's mascot, and said CC takes it from behind. So I've got one of those floating around somewhere because,
Wow.
of course, you buy that.
Yeah,
Of course.
But
Yeah.
now, I mean, that's not cool, man.
No, they can't even use Boone anymore. Fuck that. That is so fucked up.
You know why? Because he's gender specific.
He's not gender
They
neutral.
don't,
No,
so
no,
they
I
don't
thought-
want to do like what a lot of teams do.
No, that's
like,
not what
No, I thought it was
That's
because
not what it was.
he's an Indian killer.
Yeah.
No, well, we were always told that it was because
No, it's
because it was a man.
That's not it.
They didn't want to do like
the
lady
tribes,
Bruins or lady pioneers.
the fucking tribes wrote fucking.
Yeah, I think
Letters.
because the pioneers.
Oh,
I
they
feel
did.
like that's
The
more
first,
forgivable.
normally the Indian tribe,
The
the only
Indian-
one
the
not
male- the
this
Indian
one.
killer?
Oh, no, they did not
that,
like the Daniel
like,
Boone.
okay, fine.
So
Oh,
check this
then
out.
He shouldn't be a mascot.
Other than gender, yeah, I'm like, come on, it's just
Because there's all
little
those teams
dude.
that are like the Lady Hawks or whatever.
Dude,
They-
Dune was drawn by fucking Walt
Right.
Disney himself in 1952.
It's too bad.
Fuck you,
Yeah.
politically correct assholes.
Now listen,
Sure
that's
did.
how Trump got elected. Your attitude.
I know. No, the liberals did it. They got Trump elected.
Hey, I agree. People can be too PC, but the overreaction to too PC is why we
Is
have
Trump. I know. We're not disagreeing at all.
Hey, let's get into the show.
It's the fucking crazy ass fucking butthurt motherfuckers. Okay, so I do a read. Then
Some
we
point you guys
play
gotta open
the
this.
question song by.
Oh, so we're doing
Should I-
that
should I-
after the outro.
It's not
That's
for
what
show.
we
Yeah,
yes.
so you need that. Okay.
Yeah, so
It's like Easter. You
We
gotta
have-
dig through.
Questions.
Oh.
oh, wow.
Can I buy that off you?
Nice.
I don't have anything ready
Do
for
you need
tomorrow.
My
I need
romance
something.
kit.
It's
That's
all-
John's wife is
Boy, there's
getting
something
that.
else in there.
Our fucking sewer backed up into our house today, so I was like,
Yeah.
Ooh,
scrubbing
essential
I was scrubbing
oils.
shit the way those curlers
Oh,
blew,
yeah.
like an hour before. I
Wow,
came in.
Ryan, you really did us up right. So
Dude, I'll
there's
take
more
more
in
off that
there?
fireball right now.
There's more than one.
Here.
Keep digging.
My throat could use that.
that is awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Did I get it all out of there?
No.
Okay. It's Fireball. I've never had Fireball.
What?
But I'm not going to start tonight because I got my truck and I can't. If I get pulled over in that,
Oh, God.
Oh wow!
Technically Fat Tuesday, but yeah, I'm.
My God. I'll bet
I
you.
will drink that later.
I'll bet you this has
Thank
high fructose corn syrup.
Oh, sure it does.
Well, it's better than when they said it had like antifreeze in it.
Hopefully, it doesn't have any antifreeze.
That's
Okay, are we ready?
Okay, so I got to do a commercial. Then you play. It's the questions, huh? It's the questions, whatever that thing.
Now, but then after the questions is going to go into a song to bring us back in.
After I say 1971,
Then you
A song.
Then you get a song, and then I start talking.
no pressure.
No pressure.
No
give me some
pressure.
hand signals. over
No
here.
pressure.
Yeah,
Well,
pressure drop.
he's going to give you hand signals. I'll just tell you,
I'm
like,
just
to
gonna
turn it down.
slap him on his
So-
knee.
All right, Colin, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Hey, everybody, have you signed up for a subscription?
hey, everybody, unmute. Sorry, not everybody, just unmute it all.
Okay.
Just bleep, bleep,
Yeah, all
bleep,
the- yeah,
bleep.
yeah,
Yep, there you go.
There
You're
you go. You might want to unmute your music too, just in case.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, cool.
I was on that.
All right, now we got it.
Hey, everybody, have you signed up yet for bsndenver.com? It's a subscription worth the money. We're talking like $4 a month. I think they got a $30 package. They got a lifetime package. It's like $40 maybe for like a year. And you're getting great writers and you're getting well thought out content. The podcasts are free. The video content is free. It's kind of a freemium service, but I encourage you to sign up. bsndenver.com. They're doing a great job over there. They are a sponsor. We are fans. So check it out, yo.
Yeah, good job. Did it.
When did bobsleds become bobsleighs? Did the IOC, that puzzles me. Did the IOC hand out so many condoms because in Pyeongchang, everybody's looking for a little Pyeongtang, if you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Shouldn't the Asians be dominating women's half pipe since that's all they're used to anyway? Are fans of Shaun White, collectively known as the White Folks. Were the Nuggets smart to trade Wilson Chandler straight up for not as shitty Wilson Chandler? What is Von Miller getting Kirk Cousins for Valentine's Day? Is DMAC a finalist to be the new voice at the Denver Greyhound Terminal? In anticipation of his next job, should Todd Romero practice key phrases in the mirror, such as, how much were you looking to pay per month, and have we discussed the undercoating? Is Allie Stern so much more knowledgeable about the NBA this season because she spent endless hours watching film? specifically Space Jam. You have questions. We have answers. SouthStandsDenver.com, Colorado's finest internet sports talk since 1971.
We don't need fucking Scott anymore.
Fuck Scott.
It's good jams. It's good stuff. Thank you, Bronco Jeff.
You know, intelligence quotient measures your ability to learn. And
True.
so I'm guessing Bronco Jeff, has a really high intelligence quotient.
I've spent some time with him, and yes, you're right. He's a smart dude.
Smart cat.
Yeah. We hit up.
Good choice, Scott.
The key to intelligence quotients is to talk about your IQ. The more you talk about it, the smarter you typically are.
That mic's terrible. I don't even know if he's even read. He's barely registering. Are you on? Which one is it? Sorry, I didn't mean to. No, I don't think that's it.
No.
It's that one. Just get up
I
real
heard
close
it.
to
It was quiet.
Yeah, just get up real
I
close
heard
to it.
it.
Yeah, but
Oh, that's
we
good.
got you. We got you.
See that out there?
But you know, I want to say his name is Bronco Jeff, right? So it might sound like one of those dildos whose name is like Raider Greg,
It does.
you know.
No, it does.
But no, but
totally
he
does.
I like that. though.
he rises above that because he's not a moronic Raiders fan.
And he's not a Jeff with a G. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on, bro.
So yeah, because you know they're always like, hey, this is Raider Greg calling in. My Raiders are going to do real good this year, and it's like, yeah, okay, Raider Greg. And you know, Raider Greg lives in Littleton, and you know he's a diehard Raider
Do you
fan.
call up Gil Whiteley and say, this is Bronco Jeff? Hey, Gil, Bronco Jeff.
Hey, Gil, it's Bronco Jeff. Where's Bronco Billy? Because that guy has got to go.
Bronco Billy. Is Bronco Billy still alive?
Bronco Billy's still
Yeah,
alive.
Okay, good.
There's got to be
for a while.
somebody has to listen to My Life Sports.
That's true. So yeah, it's you know it's
So sorry.
but once you have your name, you can't really go back. You can't.
You can't do it at all. That's what happened. I feel the need to defend myself here because way back when, the day that we hired John Fox as our coach, I was at work screwing around on the internet. And my buddy IMs me, and he's like, the Broncos just hired John Fox. I'm like, holy shit, how do you know that? He's like, I just got it on Twitter. So I'm like, all right. I've never been on Facebook, never been on Friendster, never
Good.
been on MySpace.
Good for you.
Never did any of that shit, but I'm like, fuck. If this information's coming out that early on Twitter, I need a Twitter account. And I put no thought into it. I was like, Bronco Jeff, because that Bronco's on the brain. And I don't know if I can change it. I don't know how to change it, but
You can change it.
Oh, you can
Like,
change it.
Yeah. You can change it.
You can change
How about
it.
this
I
one?
like
How about
it.
this one?
But I like it. I like
about this
I
one?
like
I'm
Bronco.
keeping it now.
How about
I've had
this?
the same
Jeff Boyardee. Jeff.
Oh,
Yeah.
About that
TM.
one. Yeah, TM. Yeah, a little TM. No, you can change it, but don't change it. Now you're
I'm not
Bronco
just-
Jeff.
I've had the same voicemail recording on my phone for 13 or 14 years. It's like, this is my cell phone because I have a cell phone and they're new.
Yeah,
So if I haven't changed that, I'm not changing
Now it's
this.
ironic.
I'll deal with it.
you have once you have an identity, you got to keep it. You can't change it.
Right.
So,
I want to talk about my rampant consumerism. Show off a couple items.
oh
here.
yeah, show it off to the camera.
I spent way too much money for this. This is a photo. So this comes with the story. This is a photograph of Gary Harris shooting the game-winning 3 over Russell Westbrook, who's about 3 feet in the air in the photo. And
Like
it's
his
just a great
fingertips are almost touching the ball.
it's beautiful.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's an amazing photograph, and it was an amazing night, which I watched from home, having given away 5 very good tickets to the game. Not 5, 4, sorry. And the reason I did was because my wife was out of town on business, and both of my kids were homesick. So I didn't think that staying out until like 11 o'clock at night was really a hot idea. My wife might have thoughts about that. So I asked some dudes at work for me, do you guys think you can pull this off? So they went, and after that shot, I texted one of them. I was like, please tell me you stayed until the end.
Did they?
Please. They did.
Oh,
He goes,
good.
oh yeah, dude, it was awesome. Coolest thing I've ever seen. So I got him also a photo. I got him one of the photos too.
It's very nice.
What do you get?
NBA Photoshop.com. And it's very, very sweet. And then this just came today. Very happy. Now, John, you've already got this.
Yeah,
right?
but I don't have
Does yours have the AZ?
No, the big gaudy AZ.
Yeah, I was
No.
when I did not. That's not what I
Yeah.
bought. That's not what I came in for. That's
Yeah,
not what
I don't have one of those.
I didn't. They didn't show that
Huh.
on the page where I ordered it from Fan Addicts.
Mm.
And they also fucked me another way too. They
Whoa, it might not be a sponsor now.
oh now fuck Fan Addicts. I would
Yeah.
never let them sponsor my show. Fuck those guys. There was special promo code today only, free shipping, free shipping, free shipping, free shipping. So I put my order in, right? It's a total fucking 30 whatever. I sent the money. Credit card charge $52. Charged me for fucking shipping. And so they said, I called them up. They were willing to resolve it, right? Sure, you use the promo code. Yes, sir, absolutely. We totally messed up. That'll hit your credit card in 4 to 6 weeks. I was like, my ass.
And then they
You processed
Yeah.
that shit this morning. I looked at my fucking statement.
Like here's
And
your
it-
Arizona patch.
That
dickhead.
shit went right through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I run a retail shop. I return people's credit cards. It batches that night. You're a huge corporation. How can you tell me you can't get this done
they're
overnight?
making that little bit of scratch on
Around
your
the
With
money.
a little bit of
On the
squizzilia
PayPal
on
thing,
my dough.
They sit on your money like PayPal.
Absolutely.
They added like $12 shipping, and I did everything right.
Well,
It's just they're hoping nobody calls, and I don't like companies that do business that way. So, Fan Addicts, I'm sorry. I would have loved to have had you as a sponsor, but I won't accept your offer.
plenty of other hat companies
Don't
out there.
blackball me from the NHL here, but they also took over the NHL stores
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
this year.
all of them.
Yep.
I've never had an issue with them, but what I think they need to do, it's if they had free shipping all the time, I'd just be buying hats constantly. But the shipping, I'm always like, I don't want to pay fucking $5 to have a stupid,
Dude, they charged me $12.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Can you
So,
not get that like at Coors or the
Of
Dugouts?
course you can.
You just gotta go there.
Yeah, you have to go to one of the shops, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
if you buy an
it-
NHL
it-
jersey now, you're getting a Fanatics made NHL jersey.
Interesting. Well,
Feel that.
Yeah.
Feel it.
it's beautiful. It's a nice hat.
Oh, it's gorgeous, but feel it.
I was gonna
It's
ask
a
you
fucking
what it
thin
is.
ass piece of shit, is what it is, dude. I'm telling you.
It's
It is not.
what
that,
is it? It's like
feel
a
that.
nylon?
No, that's
Yeah, it
the
looks a little cheap.
Oh, it is.
No, that's
maybe the
what
home
mine's
plate
made
on
out
the
of.
side was $12.
Yeah, it's made out of that.
Yeah, dude. I bought a fitted Packers hat for the same price many years ago.
I'm telling you, when they win
And
the
it
World
was-
Series,
it was
that's gonna
beautiful.
melt at the first bonfire you go to.
it's gonna get knocked off and
Dude,
be
these
shoved
fuckers
into
are-
a cop car.
These fuckers used to have a layer of netting and like a layer of like cardboard.
Nah,
and
that's a
felt.
different kind of
Sweat
hat.
guard.
It's a different material.
It's a summer sport.
Yeah.
It's a
So
summer sport.
I want to talk real quick. You were talking about the Olympics, and I haven't really watched the Olympics.
I haven't watched
but,
the Olympics at all. Not one thing,
I have.
which
We got
surprises me.
Wi-Fi.
Is that music?
Yeah.
Oh, turn your music. Yeah, music. I should have. Is it?
This is Royal Blood, though. I was just talking to you
Is
about
it?
it. Yeah.
Wait, why is it playing?
Maybe it's my phone.
That's not for
Oh, is it your phone?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Weird.
Wow, that is weird. Okay.
Are
And I was
you
like,
just
sorry.
trying to fuck with Bronco Jeff?
Holy.
Try to keep him on his toes.
Bronco Jeff's over here. His eyes are bugging out of his
His
head.
own
He's like, what the fuck did I do?
I'm not playing my Apple Watch.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I got to figure it out.
Thanks,
The
Obama.
the Olympics, and I haven't really watched it. Everyone gets excited about it, and I love curling. I curled a couple years ago. I tried it out. The night Tim Tebow
I
got
want
drafted.
to curl so bad.
It's fantastic, and I think we talked about this. You could go, and especially if you're involved with media, you could just say, "Hey, I do an AS podcast for Mile High Sports. We'd like to come out and curl, and we can talk about it and promote
We're
it."
gonna do a podcast live.
They'd be like, "Come on down." They'd give you they'd have you take the class. It's really fun. It would be a blast to get a bunch of people together to do it. Obviously, it's hard to get everyone organized, but
And you don't have to wear skates, right?
No,
you
you-
use shoes.
you wear like a shoe that has a slick surface, so you can slide on it. So you have to be able to do that.
I'm gonna call attention to this only for this reason. But did you see the video of Lauren Gardner eating it on the ice curling?
No, I didn't see her curling.
So everybody's like,
I've seen every video of Lauren Gardner I could find on the internet, and I missed that one.
Wow.
so everybody's like, what? She can
Sorry,
walk on
Lauren.
the
I
ice
don't
in
mean to
heels,
creep you out.
but she can't stand on the ice. She was wearing that slick thing.
The
on
slick
her
thing,
foot,
yeah.
and she stepped down and just boom.
It's very slick, and you have to be careful at first because your regular shoe, like let's say, I'm wearing a pair of Vans, you can wear that, and that's obviously slick on the ice, but you have a little bit of grip. But you have that slick shoe, and you have to use that to like kind of get back and forth, because otherwise you'd be like shuffling. You have to do that, and you have to be able to do that. It's hard to do the brooms. Like you have to have some arm strength to do the brooms. And sitting there and throwing those is nice and easy. You just
I can sweep the fuck out of the floor.
You could, so you got to know sweep.
I'm a sweeping mofo.
Can
so
you
hopefully
sweep
I can
and
be a
run
sweeper.
on ice at the same time though? That looks like the
I
hardest part to me.
I can't even stand on ice.
You can slide. You can slide with your shoe and then do it, and then kind of stop yourself and keep going. So it's very fun, and everyone gets crazy about the curling, and it's very cool. Everyone should try it. It's really good. But what I was talking about, because you were talking about the half pipe and the Asian.
I'm real sorry. I mean, I figure if one joke during questions doesn't make everybody in the room uncomfortable,
well,
I haven't outdone my job.
Well, what's funny is because everyone can see their faces. Because before, like you'd say something horribly inappropriate, and Nate Kreckman would be like, but now he can't do that because he can't be seen laughing at something horribly inappropriate, right? So anyway,
right before you guys got here, I was reading a couple of things off to my buddy James who's hanging out. And he goes, "You can't say that on your podcast, dude. You can't say that. So you got to take that out.
Oh.
You can't say that."
That's why it's so fun.
I was like, he goes, "Dude, that is like racist." It's like, I know.
Yeah, it's that's just what you do on a podcast. So not be racist, but you could just say what you want is what I'm trying to say. But what I wanted to bring up is that all these people. What's funny is because you've got all these teenagers and you've got this like Asian American girl winning a gold medal in like in snowboarding, and you've got these girls winning in like
Thank you,
figure skating.
DACA.
Well, it's funny because then do you know the controversy about the woman because she was like immigrants, what can't they do?
She's not an immigrant, but her parents are.
Well, but so then she's like, I was quoting Hamilton, and I was like, look, if you're quoting Hamilton, you need to fuck off. That's right out of the gate. You need to fuck off if you're quoting Hamilton.
By the way, did you get tickets?
Fuck
no.
off. No. And
No.
I was thinking about this, and there's only two people that I know are really into Hamilton that I give a pass to. The rest can fuck off. The two people are Brooke Cale and Benjamin Hockman. He loves him some Hamilton. I'll overlook it, Ben. I'll just overlook that part, but I just don't get it. Hamilton, that I can't stand that bullshit. But so this woman's using Hamilton as her excuse. And it was just funny because then she was like, well, you can't, this has come back to your PC thing. Oh, you can't, everyone jumps all over you. It's like, look, if you say something fucking dumb like that, where you're basically calling this girl an immigrant when she was born in California, maybe her parents came from somewhere, but she's as American as anyone else, you deserve a ton of shit. And I just think people open their mouths all the time, and then they play this card of like, whoa, everyone's getting offended. It's like, no, you're saying something dumb, and you need to be called out and shamed for it.
Speaking of such things, this morning, everybody, it was going around on Twitter. I think it was last night. Greg Popovich, after their loss in Utah, said America is a racist country. And somebody asked him, a reporter asked him why he thought it was significant to celebrate Black History Month in the NBA. And he said, because it's a black league and racism exists in America. And basically, he said America is a racist country. And I had a problem with it, to be honest with you, for several reasons. One is that Greg Popovich never talks, never gives the media anything. And he chose the moment that he finally gave some disclosure to the media to bash our country. And it kind of bothers me. I would say it this way: America is the least racist country in the world.
But it's still racist.
And it has work to do.
It's still racist.
The country's not. There are small envelopes. The country is vehemently opposed to racism. If you look at the general vibe and the general feel you get from most corners of the USA, we don't like racists. This is not a racist country. There are racist people within this country. But it's not a racist country, and there are racist countries, but real racist countries, and nobody wants to talk about that, because if you talk about another country as being a racist country, you're judging them, and they're just like us. And no, they're not.
Yeah, but
and this is the greatest fucking country in the world.
Yeah, but your point is that, oh, this isn't a racist country. There's just racists in it. Fine, but then you say, well, this country's racist. Then they can say, hey, look, we're not racist. We just have some racists. I mean, that's what everyone can say.
Okay, if Boston were a country all of its own, it would be the most racist.
They're racist. That's the some of the problem. Is people are like, I'm not racist, and they do things
Like the president.
Racism is
Like the
hate.
president.
To me, racism is hate. Racism is not ignorance. Racism is hate. To me, that's the way I define it. If you're a racist, you hate and you want to kill, and you discredit, discount, and look down upon. And I think that fraction of what we call racism in America is maybe 10%. The other 90% is just, come on, man. This is a melting pot, and if it's going to be a melting pot, we're going to have a little fun. And if we're not willing to have a little fun, then it really is going to be an uncomfortable situation for everybody.
So I can tie this entirely back to sports right now.
Please
which
do.
is I was listening to CPR, and they were talking about Russian propaganda on Twitter and how
That's weird, isn't it?
they've targeted specific people on Twitter to inundate with tweets about issues and racism and whatever. And we're all aware of what's going on social media and Facebook and everything. But the same thing in sports, on a losing season like we had with the Avalanche last year, you see a lot of negativity, and your concept is this is what it's like everywhere. But really, it's such a vocal minority that is doing that. It really distorts your perception of how things are perceived by everyone else.
Absolutely. And with the Russian stuff, they try to affect one issue one way, so everyone just thinks, oh, this is how it's going. Oh, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, and they fucking beat that drum till everyone starts going, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization.
But really, it's 100,000 people on Twitter that aren't people, that are bots,
that are pushing
Russian
it a certain
in an
way.
office running 30 Twitter accounts or whatever. It's fascinating, dynamic.
It's very fascinating. We do have to get into the second half already.
Jeez.
I got plenty to cover. I didn't even really get to. I didn't even get to my Hamilton.
This
quotes.
is my list of shit I wanted to get to. This is the one I've done.
Okay. Well, I even took some notes. So I rarely take
What
notes.
the fuck?
I know. I got some notes. So yeah, let's get into the second half. And we'll
So we're gonna come back to sports, right?
I guess we're gonna come back to sports
I've tried.
if we can get it. So
I tried.
You tried what?
Bring it back to sports.
Oh, that's good. No, we got to at least have a 10% sports. So let's get into the second half right about now, and we'll be right back.
I think Scott will be pleased. It's up to you.
It's just real slow.
Yeah, just bring it out real
I did
slow.
appreciate that you tweeted that, because then I looked into Popovich's stuff and all that. And I see a lot of stuff that you tweet. I'm like, oh, I should look into this.
Scott lets it roll, because he'll have a song in mind. He'll let it roll. You can bring it out anytime you want.
Yeah, I just switched that one based on the topic.
That's
And
great.
then
So that's
I'm
what
gonna do a
you
read, and then we're gonna do sports. Read and then sports.
Do you have this? Do you have the long version?
I got
It's on Spotify.
It is okay.
It seems like he doesn't ever say shit unless it's something political. Then all of a sudden,
Unless he's being
the
mean to a
first
reporter.
guy.
Right.
Right.
Unless he's being mean to somebody. This morning, I don't know. Did you hear Julie Brown and Scott Hastings?
What is?
When Pop
He
talks
made
about
Julie
Trump,
Brown
yeah.
cry once.
perfect.
Popped it.
Yeah, and she told the whole story. So she followed him out to the team bus, went on the team bus, and got in his face. And she told the whole story. It was great. And he ended up hugging her.
Yeah.
At the end, and he apologized. She was like, "You made me feel totally shitty, and I'm not going to let you off the hook for it."
Good
And
for
so
her.
I followed you to the team bus.
It's funny working in the Avs, because she's obviously was around the team
Mhm.
until Lauren kind of moved into that role. And
Remember,
No,
remember your live. Remember your live.
right.
Remember your live.
So I was telling somebody, I was like, what's interesting is I've never spoken with her, and it was like halfway through my first year, and I'm like, I've never had a conversation with her, and she's around all the time. And it wasn't 20, 30 minutes later, she came up and started talking to me and was super nice.
Is she listening in on you somewhere?
She must have been.
Everyone I've ever known who've talked
They
to
hacked
Julie
my
Brown,
phone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the sun in England.
anyone I've ever talked to who has talked to Julie Brown and says she's absolutely the sweetest person.
What's
in the
funny,
world.
because people who don't know her personally are maybe not are fans of her. In
I
terms
used to
of
make
media.
jokes about her on the internet all the
Right.
time.
What always impressed me is even if she couldn't necessarily convey what it was she was trying to convey in a question, she would get some of the best responses out of coaches and players, and I'm like, how do you do that?
She was good, but every time she mispronounced someone's name, people go, "Oh," and then fucking it'd be all over.
That's the same thing that happened to Ali Stern.
Yeah.
She did not have enough time to prepare to be thrust into the role that she was thrust into, and there are a lot of unusual names in the NBA, and she had a lot of trouble with them.
I like to tease Allie internally about how they always post photos of her doing an interview with her laptop out. But the first interview I did was with Derek Armstrong, was on Mile High Sports TV, and I had a notebook in my lap the whole time because I was just horrified of not remembering what I needed to say or what I was going to ask. I mean, you got to learn, you grow.
Oh no, okay.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
If you need,
I can't.
Yeah, you can't.
Goddamn live stream.
Sorry.
Save it for the after show, the Patreon version.
Yeah, that's right. You can pay to get that later.
You pay for the dirt.
Yeah.
That shit would have to be $39.95 if I was to get that.
Yeah. So we won't do that.
$39.95 a minute.
So this is actually faster because before last time there was quite a delay in this, and
See what a restart does?
yeah, fucking A, man. So it's doing really good.
Jesus Christ.
You hanging in there?
Yeah, just like people are calling me.
Shaun White wins his third gold medal.
Yeah, knew that was
The
happening.
100th gold for America in Winter Games history.
More importantly, I scored 6 goals, 5 assists, 3 power play goals, 4 power play assists, a game-winning goal tonight.
I had 21 goals last week.
Really?
All season long, I'm like, I need goals. I had 21 goals. I won
That's a
6
lot
to
of fucking
5
goals. You won 6 to 5 just with that?
because my goaltending is just so up and down.
But here's the deal. So I
Like
benched.
Colin has Anderson. I sat on him for like 6 weeks, and Ottawa was so bad.
Oh, Craig
And now
Anderson,
I'm like,
yeah.
of course he's got Craig Anderson
Yeah.
because Ottawa's winning games now.
Well, I had Carter Hutton, and I benched him because I was like, it's Nashville, and I was like, yeah, I don't know how it's going to go. He was pitching a shutout, and then I just checked it, and now it's 3-3. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was like, God, I benched him.
I almost made you an offer today for him.
Really?
I had like 6 tabs open on
Yeah.
my computer, and they were all evaluate trades with a different team in the league. So if somebody was like, no, I could just go to the next one. Boom, send.
Hey, buddy, I'm open for business because I might get Crawford back. So if I get Crawford back,
I don't know about that.
he's skating.
Trust me, I looked at your goalies. I read the news. I saw he skated with the team. There's no timetable for his return. And he's having vertigo symptoms, right?
If you've ever had vertigo, it fucking sucks.
So-
Jonas Hiller had
so
vertigo,
bad.
and he's pretty much been out of
Yeah.
the league since.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
not
Philly
fun.
lost.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Philly lost.
5-4.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay.
Meanwhile, Henrik Lundqvist loses another game.
Meanwhile, Patrice Bergeron got 2 goals and the game winner.
I almost made a trade for him too.
Hey, I want to get Moran of the weekend.
Moran of the week.
Moran of the
You
week.
know, that's his. That's
Irish
his name
Al.
now.
So all I'm saying
Not
is
Irish Al.
I know.
I'm looking for goaltending, and I will trade Nathan McKinnon.
Well, now I'm set for center. I'm set for center now.
My problem, I have Connor McDavid, Sean Couturier, and Nathan McKinnon, and it was like I need a lesser tier center because it's 3 top tier guys. Who do you bench?
That's
Well,
the
McKinnon,
part.
because as soon as I picked him up, he stopped scoring and then got hurt.
Maybe if you had a utility spot, we could maybe get some more people in.
God damn, who's the commissioner?
If I could,
I bug him all the
Hold on,
time.
hold on.
I'm like, hey Ryan, how about this?
yeah. How about you approve trades faster? Okay, whatever you want.
Well, usually, like in most leagues, I just have it. Well, shit, maybe I do have to approve them.
I think there's only 2 options in Yahoo. It's approval or
Yeah, so I always have it approved, and if somebody does it, and it's like generally I trust everybody that I'm in a league with, that they're not going to fuck around, then I just approve it. I don't even look at it. I mean, I look at it, but I don't give it to.
So I tried to
stop.
approve your trade, and they were like, players are already playing.
It's
you can't
that
approve
day.
it.
Yeah.
So then it was at dinner, and the Arik, who's the Avs fancy stats analyst, for lack of a better phrase, I showed him. He was like, "You're getting screwed." And I was like, oh, this will be juicy. And then you started talking shit about on Twitter. I was like, oh, well.
He was talking shit?
No, you were talking. You
yeah.
two.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're just
My
kidding
culture
around.
of
We're just
no
joking
trading.
around. I don't even know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
he didn't know what he's talking about. You tell your fancy stats guy that I made a really good trade there. So, do you know why? Do you know why I made that? Why I targeted that particular player?
Because you need defense.
No, Bergeron. Why I targeted Bergeron? Because
You can get Bergeron.
yeah, I got
And then you
Bergeron.
got McAvoy.
You got Bergeron.
He got McAvoy.
Oh.
Oh, so
So
who
no, you got
he got
Bobrovsky.
I got Bobrovsky.
and McAvoy.
and you got
I got Bergeron and Dell. And Dell he was going to drop him anyway, so I just said throw him in.
Yeah.
that makes more sense because I was like, I have Jones, and even though he sucks, he's still the starter.
Yeah, kind of. But so Bergeron and the Bruins.
This is so boring.
I know,
I'm
but
so glad we're not on mic.
we'll get back to it in a second. Bergeron, the Bruins have
Well, Bergeron's insane. His line, let's say a month and a half ago, his line hadn't given up an even strength goal.
they're
all
fucking
season.
they're crazy. They've gone fucking ballistic. And the Bruins play the most games down the stretch. So in the playoffs,
You're getting more games than anyone else. See,
You
that's
didn't
smart.
put all this in your trade offer, jerk.
Why would I say
that? He's like, I don't read a website. I just know osmosis. A funny story about Aaron Dell. He played for the Allen Americans in the CHL when they came here and played the Cutthroats in the playoffs.
oh,
And he was lights out.
was he?
And it was like, how is this kid not at least the AHL learning? And now here he is in the NHL, 5 years later,
He might
whatever.
be the starter. He might be the starter here real soon.
He's a good goalie, I'm
God
telling you.
damn, you pickpocket.
Fuck yeah, dude. So tell your stats guy. Tell him what I said.
I don't know. It's
I
tricky
gotta
because
read. I'm gonna
Columbus
do a
is on
read,
a slide.
and then-
right? So
No, sports we already
Goalie-wise,
did. Oh no,
Because
you're
I
right.
I saw that. I was
Sports,
like,
yeah.
man, this guy's
Bergeron
going to
is
score.
good. I mean,
Yeah,
so is
that-
McAvoy.
Yeah, John,
McAvoy's
we
good. I don't
have
want to
to-
give him up, but
He just had that heart.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do a read, and then we're gonna do
It's
sports.
crazy.
are you ready?
Crazy sports. If you're gonna go crazy for some
Oh,
sports,
you got sports queued up?
Yeah,
He's
you
got
ready?
sports.
Okay, you know
ready
what to do?
to unmute?
Everybody's gonna be unmuted. Yeah, we're
Unmute
gonna
everybody.
talk
We're ready to
into
rock.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let me save this real quick. That might be. Oh, I did it. Okay.
Oh, we gotta start over.
Talking
Shit.
too much. No, it's
Yeah.
good. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Hit it.
Sportique is where scooters come from. And if you're looking for a scooter, Sportique is the place to be. 160 South Broadway, just north of Alameda in the shadow of downtown Denver. Buy a 50cc scooter. Go to the game, park at a bike rack, walk right in. You're out of there before the first person in the parking lot begins to unlock their door. It's so easy. It's so fun. It's so fast. It's Sportique, where scooters come from. Woo! Yeah! Bronco Jeff in the hizzy! Woo! Yeah, baby! Oh! Oh, this is the teaser version. Ow!
A guitar. No.
Oh, it's the ball buster. Don't tease me like this. I want it.
Work that cowbell. Work that cowbell.
Oh, God damn it, I missed it. Sports. Yeah. Sports. Let's go, sports.
Yeah, sports. You guys got your sports in.
Imagine if you wrote that.
Who wrote that?
The whole song.
Like if you were the person that wrote it?
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot more
More time
money.
on Earth would be done.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
good.
a masterpiece.
Mission
It
accomplished.
really is. And the shortened version that we usually use, I think always, I always say it would just make such a great radio intro, and just to be like the actual intro to your show. Once Colin and I get a weekend show, then we'll use it for that.
Yeah, I think Fox Sports Radio should bring us on. We could do something from like 11 to 1 when nobody's listening.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have to be
think
up-
I
I have to be
should
up that
just do
late?
Satellite radio. Just
No, like
do
11
that.
to 1 in the
Satellite
afternoon
radio.
on Sunday.
Forget terrestrial. We're talking outer space.
Dude, speaking of which, did you hear the news? Peter Burns got himself a weekend gig with whatever the fuck network he's with.
ESPN?
ESPN, that's right. Yeah, ESPN Radio. He's got a Sunday show now.
Oh,
And on the nationally syndicated level. So
That's-
hopefully it'll play at the Fan there at the ESPN affiliate. So we'll see. But I'm excited for him. He's got a beautiful wife, a beautiful baby, and just a great, great guy. And way to go, Peter Burns. Not like you'd bother listening to this local
not
podcast just
We
because
knew
you've been
you
on
would.
it.
We knew you would.
He's been on here a few times, but yeah, he's
Yeah.
not listening. But
You remember when he
Congrats.
did the press box with Mark Kisla on Mile High Sports Radio?
Oh,
We substituted on that show, on the press box, the very best show on radio at the time. We guest hosted.
like
so that
two
was awfully
Fridays in a
thrilling.
row or something.
twice in
Yeah.
a row.
The
Pretty
two
sweet.
Fridays, I think. Yeah,
How'd it go?
it went
Well, you know what really blew us both away, I think, was how quickly those segments ended. Like, I feel like we had 4 times what they could possibly put on air. Just every time we looked up, they were telling us. let's
Well,
wrap it
they
up.
had Lance. What's his name?
Lance Zerline.
No,
No, that's
that's-
a football player.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I know the one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
he was there. He was the buffer. He kind of ran things, just make sure
Yeah.
he didn't go totally off the rails.
Kind of a douche.
How much
I
preparation
got
did you
nice
guys put in? I've always wondered, like, any?
I
You
don't
just go
think-
in and you just do it off the cuff.
I think we just kind of went in and did it. I don't know. Do you have some notes?
No, I had, yeah. I mean, I get nervous if I don't have, you know,
Preparation's good.
I'm a legal pad guy.
Preparation's
I'm a legal pad and a pen guy.
I'm.
And that's
I
how
don't.
I
I
do
don't
it.
ever write anything down. I just kind of let it roll. And if he says
John is
something-
far smarter than I am. I mean, I'm just a dumb guy. So for me,
But-
you know, it helps to have.
But here's the problem: as I'm getting older, I start getting like more and more brain farts, and I'm like, oh, I got to make sure to write things down so I don't brain fart out and not.
Yeah, turn off the stove.
Yeah, things
Yeah.
like that. Well, I'm just
Brush your
talking about
teeth.
here. Like all of a sudden, I'll kind of go. I'm middle of talking, and I'm like, oh fuck, where am I going? And I have to like kind of,
You have one of those.
So like in the
phone
first
I
quarter,
can't get up
like in the
with.
first quarter of
yes.
the show, and you're like,
Life alert.
so Ryan, it's good to have you again.
a little like that. Yeah, a little like that.
Life alert.
Let me, we got a few things to get to. But I do want to know, Ryan, this is where
That's
we can,
me.
yeah, that's you. I do kind of want to know what it's like being around a professional sports team. The NHL's got the trade deadline's coming up in another week or so, or 2 weeks, whenever it is. I think it's like a week and a half.
26.
26. And I kind of want to know, is it like, obviously you're not in the war room with those guys. I don't think you were.
I was last year.
You were,
It
okay.
was great.
That's what like. Is it just crazy? Is it like any movie that they've made about like GMs and stuff like that? Is it similar to that? Is it tense? Is it like, you're waiting for the phone call, or are people like yelling at each other? What's that like?
Like, what's that Kevin Costner movie?
Yeah, he was like the Browns
Whatever.
GM.
I love that movie.
Is it accurate?
No,
I thought draft day was far better than anybody gave it credit for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
it's
I've seen
just-
it like 5 or 6 times.
Give
on
me more of
HBO.
that. I just want. That's what it's Jerry Maguire. That movie.
I don't
want
think
that.
it's that far off base where you can have a guy that hits a home run on draft day or on trade deadline day or whatever it is, and guys make the pieces work. Stan Bowman in Chicago is usually that guy that makes the pieces work. It's not coming together. The thing that always got me was people would be like, "Oh, why didn't the Avs do more?" And you're like, "Well, if you were in there and you heard what was going on, it's not like."
Because they're not just sitting
It's
around.
not like the phone didn't ring
Yeah.
or nobody made any phone calls, but either people don't want to come here or the trade doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or
Same way with the
anything.
Nuggets this year at the trade deadline. I mean, not much happened. They got Devin Harris and they traded away Emmanuel Mudiay. That's-
Well, so for
that's
that
what
example, and everyone's like, the Nuggets don't know
they
what the
didn't
hell
do
they're doing.
shit.
So
yeah.
they're sitting around and they're like getting phone calls and things are working, but they're just like, this isn't good.
Yeah, either
It's
it's,
not
a
good
fit
for our
you
team.
or
Yeah.
it's not a fit for the other team. And people were railing on Joe Sakic last year for not doing anything, and this year he's the greatest GM in hockey all of a sudden, and
Is it-
nothing has changed.
As somebody who I manage things a lot, and so does John. Sometimes deciding not to change anything is the best decision
Right.
of all.
right? People
And it takes a lot of courage to make that decision.
Absolutely, it does. People last year were saying, the fact that it's interesting how media drives the conversation sometimes, right? So it's okay, Duchesne needs to be traded. We're going to see what happens. Okay, he hasn't been traded yet. Now this looks bad. Now, why hasn't the team traded him? Well, this is just poor management. And then, holy shit, look at what they got for Matt Duchesne. That's incredible. And now there's no trades happening because everybody's overvaluing players, right? And to see that change from, well, Joe Sakic needs to go to, wow, look what he brought in.
Well, it's a genius.
Yeah, he's a genius. It's like, look, things happen, conversations happen, but when a guy knows this is what I want and we're not going to settle for anything less, sometimes trade deadlines are boring. Sometimes they're not boring. It just depends. But it
depends on what's on the table.
Yeah, exactly. If the deal doesn't make sense for the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're not going to take it. Right? If the deal doesn't make sense for the Avalanche, they're not going to take it. So you try to find another dance partner.
How is that in that? Is it like the Penguins call up and they say, hey, we'll give you, this for Matt Duchesne. And they're like, no. Is it like, are they like covering the phone and going, fuck this guy? Or are they just kind of like, no, sorry. I mean, or like, how's that dynamic work out? Is it a GM? Is it them calling Joe Sakic? Is it Mario Lemieux calling Joe Sakic, or is there somebody else talking to somebody else?
It's usually like Jim Rutherford calling Joe Sakic and saying, we're looking for this. What do you got? Okay, well, this is what we're willing to part with. Okay, well, we don't want that, or we're not willing to part with anything. Are they asking prices?
And they all know each other, so it's not like some asshole in a fantasy league trying to screw you over. They all know each other.
It's not like you make a trade.
Oh, how dare you!
How does Sakic handle himself as a GM, and do you like him as a GM?
I don't think anybody in the league could say anything bad about Joe Sakic ever. It just comes down to that. I've always thought he didn't get enough credit, and I think this year has proved that he either knows what he's doing or has surrounded himself with people who know what they're doing. But the team is always moving in a direction that there was a vision for, but people aren't willing to accept. We're going to need it 2-3 years of, placeholder people until we can get what we need. Right. And fans don't like to hear that. Every year we're winning the Stanley Cup this year, Stanley Cup or bust. But that's
the Broncos have the same dilemma right now.
It's not how it works. So the Broncos put in a placeholder quarterback and nobody's happy with it and everybody wants something.
And they're due to have another.
Sometimes you have to go through a couple years of that until, it's different in football than in hockey, where you may have a guy who's down in the AHL who needs 2-3 years to mature. An example would be Nikita Zadorov. Just the leap he's made from last year to this year is phenomenal. It's almost unpredictable that he would take that step that quickly, but you need players in the NHL at least to develop over time. And to learn the game and learn how to take hard minutes and to learn how to play as a pro at the top tier. And then you have success. So it's a 3-year plan. And playoffs are certainly always an expectation, but I wouldn't say that this year the goal is playoffs. This year the goal is development. Next year the goal is playoffs.
Sure.
That kind of thing.
How bad did Waugh bailing out, how bad did that set them back? That really leave them kind of hamstrung, or were they able to recover from that fairly well?
I would love to have a conversation with Jared Bednar about what's different last year to this year.
Yeah.
And one of the things, obviously, he has changed his coaching staff. So Tim Armey's no longer with the team. He's Dave Ferris is no longer with the team. He's got Nolan Pratt and I don't even know who else because I'm not there anymore. I'm not following it as closely. But I think that when you have a compressed timeline to prep, you're also changing leagues from the league down to the top league. Things are going to be faster for you. You have to figure out player personalities. You've got to figure out how to motivate guys, what you want from them. When you're in the AHL, everybody wants to make the NHL. When you're in the NHL, are guys just taking a paycheck? Are guys wanting to win the Stanley Cup? How do we get everybody to function as one unit and move in the same direction? So I think, Patty Waugh leaving was put everybody in a tough situation. Ron and I, my colleague, we were at DU when it happened, waiting to interview new guys like Joe Colborne, and we got called back.
You're like, oh, shit.
Like, what's going on? Like, I was like, are we getting fired? What's happening? And he showed up and found out.
Well, one of the things you talked about, Jan Heda, on your podcast, and you asked him about that, and he said he had a great time, playing for him. And then he kind of, maybe this was early on, maybe he didn't, it wasn't warmed up yet, but he kind of was like, he kind of changed, and he goes, I don't really want to get into that. And he kind of backed off that. And I think, and I don't know if people know, I'm sure you know more of the story than most people, but he didn't seem to want to get into it. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd, because I thought he could at least, as we were talking about earlier, be a little more diplomatic in an explanation.
What's interesting to me is I don't necessarily know what he's talking about. And I didn't work for the team that first year. I was still covering for Mile High Sports at that time. So I was in the locker room and I was around, but I wasn't on the other side of it. So I'm not sure what he's talking about when he said, well, things changed.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. To me, that was an interesting aside, and we didn't get into it, and I don't want to push him.
You don't want to,
guys don't want to burn bridges. And this is a Hockey Hall of Famer you're talking about, who
Sure.
has a lot of cachet here in Denver from what he managed to accomplish, 2 Stanley Cups and a legacy he set. You could say that Varlamov aside, there hasn't really been a goalie that's come close to what he's accomplished here. So it's interesting, and I don't know what he's talking about, but I do know that, times were tough with him as coach, and he did what he could to motivate the team. And
Sure.
Either they listen or they don't. But you look at guys like Wayne Gretzky, amazing hockey player, not such a great coach. It happens.
Yep. And I think I just bring that up because he was talking about it, and it struck me. But I kind of think, you know what? We don't need to fucking talk about that anymore. They've moved on. They've turned it around. They're playing well, and I think they're on the right track. So I'm happy. I'm glad that we can finally kind of watch it and not watch it with our hands over our eyes.
As a Nuggets fan, I was making some observations this week just in my own head. And one thing I realized was the difference between being a Nuggets fan and a fan of another team, including the Avalanche in this town, is that if the Avalanche get good, right, they can get to the Stanley Cup final. And if their goaltender plays well, you never know what might happen. It's kind of there are X factor teams that win Stanley Cups.
Yes.
There are X factor teams that win Super Bowls, the Philadelphia Eagles. There are X factor teams that win in most sports. In the NBA, that doesn't happen. I wrote on my notes here, there are no Eagles in the NBA. And that makes being a fan, a local fan, a Denver Nuggets fan, and I love them, a really interesting challenge, because there may come a time where they are in that window, and that window may last 2 to 4 years, and then it's gone. And the hierarchy at the top of the league is 3 or 4 teams. And this year, it'll come down to whomever wins the Western Conference title will win the NBA title. And it's one thing for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. If they played the Patriots in a 7-game series, do you think the Eagles would have won?
No chance. It's interesting because football is one of the few sports, if not the only sport, where you get a one-off postseason, period. You're one and done, and nobody else does that. And that opens the door for
Eagles
coaching gamesmanship.
Yeah.
It opens the door for the Eagles, but you look at the last time the Avs made the playoffs, I think that the team was outcoached by Mike Yeo. And you look at Ken Hitchcock.
Evil Zach Sheely.
Yes.
He looks like evil Zach Sheely.
I know the one, yes.
When I remember watching Ken Hitchcock coaching the Blues against the Dallas Stars in the playoffs, and he just figured out Dallas and just took him to town on a coaching level. And it's funny because now he's back with the Dallas Stars as the head coach. But when you have those series, it really opens the door to quality coaching and strategy and all of that. What's interesting, it sucks being – I'm not a big basketball fan, but it sucks seeing that the perception of the league is there are the teams that win and then there's everybody else.
It's not a perception. Right, it's the reality.
I know it is.
That
It's
perception
the Spurs
is the reality.
Whereas,
Oh no, and that's what's sad. No, though, Ryan, it's not the Spurs. The Spurs have no chance.
Now, but they were a dominant team.
Understood, but they are still a dominant team. They are a fabulous team. There are fabulous teams in the NBA, wonderful teams. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they have no chance of winning a title. The Cavs have no chance of winning a title. The Celtics have no chance of winning the title. It's going to be the Rockets or it's going to be the Golden State Warriors. And unless somebody gets hurt, somebody major gets hurt, that's the fate that lies ahead. And you enter the playoffs and you watch the playoffs as a fan, knowing that whether the Denver Nuggets are the 5 seed in the playoffs or the 8 seed in the playoffs, I know what's going to happen. And as a Denver fan, you're hoping they win a series. Oh, God bless. They won a series. We can all celebrate and have a little celebration, but they're not going to win a championship. And if they ever do, and I hope in my lifetime they do, they'll have a window to win 1 or 2, and that's that. But it's and the reason is because it's 5 players on the floor. And therefore, the greatest players in the league have more influence over the outcome of games than the greatest players in any other league.
Yeah, because in baseball, a team can get hot and a pitcher can take over a game, or a hitter can go off one night, and it kind of changes the dynamic of it, as opposed to basketball, where you trot out those same 5 guys who just dominate, and they dominate in, they get like in 4 games, they can take out any team, and then that's that.
When they have say where they go to an extent too, right? Well, I'd say hockey's closer to football in that it's kind of a war of attrition, and whoever comes out on top with the least amount of injuries is usually the better team. You saw it with Pittsburgh and Nashville last year in the Stanley Cup. It's just whoever can have more superstar talent or more overall depth that doesn't get injured, that can make it to the final, to make it to that last game, generally tends to win. And that's, somewhat a product of the length of the schedule, but it doesn't seem to be that way with the NBA.
And on that note, and I know we got to go to break, but I wonder if we can all agree that the NHL and NBA seasons are just altogether too long. And I know this is not a hot take. This is something that's been discussed ad nauseum in the sports media, but I'd like your feelings on that. At 162 games for a baseball season, at 82 games for an NHL season, should it be 60?
I think it's insane from a performance perspective. It's even more insane from a media staffing perspective, where you're working, I would work for the Avs. I'd work an 18-hour day on a game day and sleep 6 hours and be back at work for 8 to 5 the next day, where the players come in and they get up and they lift weights and they go do practice and they go home and do whatever they want. I think you would see better competition with less games, but they just don't. It's the age-old thing. They don't make the money the NFL does, so they need more games in order to recoup.
Sure, and they're not going back. We're not going to give up money.
No. They should take games out, because you see what happens. I know there are more dynasties now in the NHL, or at least back-to-back champions than they were. The Blackhawks, the Kings, and the Penguins are the teams that seem to win over and over again. But you see it start to take a toll on the teams. The more that they win, the deeper they go in the postseason, the more games they play, the harder it is to recover, the more wear and tear on the body it is. And it, in the end, is probably hurting the sport, but maybe it helps change the power dynamic too.
Several years ago, DMAC wrote a blog post. I can't remember. I think it was in Mile High Sports, if I'm not mistaken.
DMAC's a blogger.
He used to blog for those guys. But it was a reimagined schedule for the Big Four sports. And it was and when I thought about it, I read it, and I thought about all the things he said. I was like, that's perfect.
If that happens, you can change the scheduling so you don't have NBA and NHL competing against each other. You can spill into the 4.
NBA should be starting later anyway. That's a Peter Burns thing too. Started on Christmas. That was Peter Burns' idea.
That's exactly what DMAC said.
Let's get into the 4th. We're going to be well over time, but that's okay. We got plenty to talk about. I need to ask Ryan about a little Marvel versus DC.
I got Moran of the week.
You got Moran of the week. I want to talk about. Anyone seen Altered Carbon?
No, it's on my list.
All right. No, well, I know
you're a watcher.
We'll talk.
Is this a thumbs up? We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it on the live stream. So you have to watch the live stream to hear the Altered Carbon.
I'm a Bill Kinnaman fan.
Oh, are you? Okay, gotcha. All right. Let's take a quick break. Be right back. Joel Kinnaman is a hunk. He is a hunk.
Have you seen The Killing?
No, is that the one about the female cop and the?
It's him and the female cop.
Yeah,
The chick from World War Z, that's Brad Pitt's wife. I can't think of her name. I'm
can't
sorry.
think of that.
So The Killing was on AMC, and its legacy got fucked up because they basically were like, a person gets murdered and we're going to solve the murder.
Yeah,
Right? And so they didn't solve it at the end of season 1, and people were pissed because they don't have attention spans. They can't
Sure.
handle good media. So viewership was down for season 2, and they're like, we're going to cancel it. And the outrage was such that they were like, okay, we're going to do season 3 and then it's done. And then Netflix picked it up for season 4. But it's so fucking intense.
It's still going on?
No, they did 4
No,
seasons.
no
That's
way.
it.
Oh, okay. Is it
So
all on
they-
Netflix?
It's an arc. It's a complete arc.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, and it's so good. He is so good because he's like her partner. He had a drug habit.
Yeah.
You know, like the characters are really deep. The dynamic. It's so fucked up.
Well, I will watch that, and I bet my wife will watch because she was like wanting to watch Altered Carbon, and then he's parading around with his shirt off, and I was like, oh, I see how this is. I see you want to see this hunk walking around the
But
shirt.
this is pre that.
Yeah.
Like, he's like the sketchy former heroin addict. Like,
was
he
he
was
in
the
Suicide
undercover guy.
Squad?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's the-
And he was in his first big movie, let's say, was RoboCop. He's RoboCop.
the new RoboCop.
remake, yeah.
No, I haven't seen that. I
He was
haven't
pretty good. It wasn't.
seen- I can't. I love the original RoboCop too much, so
Yeah.
can't.
I would say it's an interesting commentary on like military-industrial complex.
I watched the new Blade Runner finally.
It's good.
It's really
Is it good?
It's fucking awesome, dude.
Jeez.
You want to talk about a sequel doing right by the?
Yeah, it's
good,
good.
yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's all done very well. It looks fucking awesome. It's very cool.
I had a buddy and he was like, "Do I need to see the first one?" And I was like, "You probably should." And then I saw it and I'm like, "I hope you fucking saw the first one because you're gonna be like, what?
Yeah, because I had to explain a few things, and I had to say, okay, so Harrison Ford was this, and he did that, and I had to kind of, and then if I was kind of like, I didn't really, I was like, oh, I guess, I didn't understand it. I understood it all, but it just was a couple things.
I have an interesting internal dynamic where I hate the ambiguity of Blade Runner, and I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
Some people are like, this is the greatest sci-fi movie ever. But I also appreciate some ambiguity in movies where I don't like it when everything is just spelled out for you,
And-
like
and-
everybody's an idiot.
And that's in Altered Carbon. It's not that it's good. It's decent. You'd enjoy it. Excuse me, but it is a little hard to follow because they don't like really spell it out for you, which I appreciate. And I have to kind of think about it and kind of go, okay, well, what is this? And why do these people have this? What's going on? You have to kind of think about it as you're watching it. I don't know if that's a bad storytelling device or if they just kept it that way, but
Have you watched the whole season?
yeah.
Okay,
Watched
so
it.
it doesn't like, it's not intentionally vague at the beginning to resolve later.
No. They kind of explain it and you kind of get up to speed, but there's a couple things where I had to read up on it and go, because the people, they all have this thing in there at the base of their neck. And if you die, you can take it out and put it into a new
Like a
body.
hard drive.
And the rich people can clone themselves and just keep living forever. But they don't really explain that everybody gets one. Because I was like, does everyone have one? And it's not really clear. But then I just read up on it. But it's good. You'll enjoy it. It's decent. It has a lot of nods to this reminds me of Blade Runner. This reminds me of this.
My roommate's big on sci-fi, and he was like, "This doesn't look that good." I was like, "I don't know. It's got 9 Inch Nails in the trailer, so I'm gonna give it a chance."
it's you.
I know
There's
he hates 9 Inch
I
Nails.
do. I don't like Nine Inch Nails. You'll find flaws in it, but it's decent. It's kind of like a detective, like a trying to solve a murder type thing.
I'll go out on a limb and say this. I don't know if it still stands because I feel like there's been some really good television out lately, but The Killing was maybe one of the best television shows I've ever seen.
Killing?
The Killing. It's Joel Kinnaman who's in that Altered Carbon, and I can't think of the woman's name. I should look it up, but
she has does she not have a twin?
I don't think
She was on Big Love and she had a twin.
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're cops investigating a murder, and people were upset that they didn't.
Oh, the Australian series.
Yeah, wasn't
So they,
Yeah.
it was Austrian, and they remade it.
Or Australian.
Same difference.
Put another shrimp on the barbie. But it was just the tension that they build and the writing, and it's every episode.
Okay,
Like,
so
now you
I
can
watched
think
like 4 episodes of it and dropped out.
The Killing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I dropped out. It didn't.
it's a slow burn.
Okay, I got to
That's
pick
the
it back
thing.
up then.
So people were so mad because you expect them at the season finale to be like, it was this guy, and they just didn't do that, which is kind of a ballsy move on network television. This is still pretty much pre-binge TV, right? So I was watching like Daredevil. I know we talked about this a little bit. And I was like, it's interesting now how binge watching on something like Netflix changes how you have to tell a story, because everybody's going to just watch 4 a night or whatever, right?
Yeah, because
And
I watched
now you have to
Altered
tell the
Carbon
story differently.
over like 3 nights. We finished it. So,
But I remember watching The Sopranos as a kid, and it was way above my comprehension. But when James Gandolfini wanted more
Sopranos is
money,
one of the top 5 TV series.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
But when James Gandolfini wanted more money and they had to push a season like season 5 back, when it started back up, I'm like, what's happening? Like, I just remember thinking, what is the Esplanade? All the time as a kid, like I could not remember what it was.
yeah, because you didn't watch it in over 2 weekends.
But when you binge it, I've binged it since it's been on Netflix or HBO, and it's like shit. The final season ties immediately back to the first episode, and it's so cerebral, and you're like, wow. I don't know how
it's
people
brilliant.
could remember that.
I think The Wire is actually better.
I've heard that.
Nah.
You haven't watched The Wire?
No. I
Oh
need to.
fuck!
The
I'm
Wire
so
is
jealous
right?
of you.
Isn't it
I am
David
so,
Chase?
dude. I am so
Yeah.
envious
Yeah.
of you.
The Wire is not
David
bad.
Simon.
Okay,
David
so
David
not
Simon
the same.
blocked me on Twitter, by the way.
Did he?
Yeah, because he was talking shit about the Baltimore schools, and I was like, yeah, and he said it was institutional racism. I was like, yeah, it's institutional racism. You fucking asshole.
Well-
So today, did you watch House
It's a
of Cards?
corrupt government, is what it is.
Did you watch House of Cards?
Not really. Kind
Yeah,
of
Freddie the barbecue, the guy that
He died
he
yesterday.
and he was in The Wire, right?
Yeah.
The Wire has a couple really good
You
seasons.
don't think it's better than
No, absolutely
Sopranos?
not. No.
Season 5 sucks.
Breaking Bad and The Sopranos are way better.
I'm
than-
rewatching Breaking Bad
Yeah.
with my 2 roommates, and one roommate had only seen season 1, and the other seen nothing. And
Oh, that's so awesome.
I'm so giddy watching
I'm so
it.
jealous when I hear about people that have not seen
Yeah.
something.
It's incredible. It's
I have
incredible
not
to
seen
experience it.
I just finally finished it.
Are you a Game of Thrones guy?
I'm a huge Game of Thrones guy. I couldn't wait anymore. Last season, I finally lived close enough to the Pepsi Center where I could go home on a game day and let my dog out. So I would go home, we'd sit in the backyard, I'd eat lunch and read Game of Thrones, and while she just fucked around in the backyard. And so I read them all and watched them all. It's a slow burn too, though, until the last season. The last season was just like, here's all the fucking shit.
Here's everything you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just finished Breaking Bad finally. Like I got into the last season and I stopped for some reason. And then so I just finished it recently and it was fucking excellent.
Man, that evil motherfucker in the retirement home is he's my favorite.
So I hope my roommates aren't watching.
Tito.
I'm sure they're not watching this. One's in South America.
Okay.
But just watching, like when they go to Tuco's place and
Yeah.
Hector Salamanca's there, I'm like, you have no idea how
That's
important this guy is to the shit with Gus. And just things like once you've seen it, when you rewatch, you're like, it's interesting that he does this because you start to see like it's an internal dynamic. Does he really enjoy being bad? And all the
That's-
scenes where he
yeah,
does something
that's-
Well,
shitty.
have you seen the Onion thing where they were like, man, 2 seasons ahead, it doles out sage advice to person starting the
Right.
thing. It's
That's how it feels
Yeah, yeah.
though. Like Walt comes home, he does something shitty, and then is like immediately wants to have sex with his wife. And people are like, is he bad? Is he good? And you're like, look, like they really had an idea.
Oh, well, Saul's good too. You like
Yeah.
Saul?
Oh yeah.
Saul's great.
So they
Oh, Saul is
Breaking
the
Bad.
best.
I think Breaking Bad hit its stride in season 3, and Saul just starts in that stride. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. Downstairs.
Yeah, go ahead, go for
Do you
it.
think
Saul's
Gus is modeled
great.
after Obama? I mean, just he's so perfectly
Rewatching it, I will watch for that and see.
I mean, he's
Am I going
perfectly
downstairs?
spoken.
Who's
and,
that?
Gus on Breaking
Oh, yeah.
Bad.
That's right.
Um,
Oh,
I just
that's
that character,
interesting.
because I mean, like
That's
They're getting all these
interesting.
shady situations.
Man, I'm telling you,
going
our
on.
video viewers are getting some good stuff.
We're getting back to the show real quick.
Yeah.
Um,
Just you wait.
Saul's great because having not finished Breaking Bad, then watched all of Saul,
Yeah.
at the end of Breaking Bad, he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I don't know, I might be working at a where's
Cinnabon.
a Cinnabon in Omaha for all I know." And I was like, "Oh,
I did
fuck."
not even know that.
I was like, "Oh shit, he's working at a Cinnabon in Omaha." It's
Yeah,
good.
Saul is really. I mean, it has the same problem as The Sopranos. Actually, you gotta fucking wait like 2 years in
Yeah.
between seasons. You're like, shit. But it's just the sibling
Nuggets
rival. The sibling rivalry thing
Oh,
is
man.
just that's like the whole
Yes,
thing.
Nuggets are losing.
And he's fucking awesome too. Michael McKean.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He's
that
fucking
dude from
great.
Spinal Tap.
The guy from Laverne and Shirley, you
Yeah.
youngster.
Squiggy. Lenny.
Yeah.
Lenny, sorry.
Oh, I watched Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, Lenny.
How old are you?
43.
Oh, we're
Yeah, you're
I've been a fan since 1974.
you're in the range.
But yeah, Better Call Saul is so different than Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, and that's why it's great.
I just thought with Breaking Bad,
I love Saul Goodman. He's one of my favorite. He's my favorite TV character since Al Bundy.
But didn't you think he'd be funnier? It's not very funny. I mean, it has funny parts,
I
but
don't
he was
think it's
kind of
supposed to be
always
funny.
funny. I thought.
I want to see.
I thought by the end of Breaking Bad, the whole point was like, I guarantee I'm going to make you love this guy, and as soon as you know you love him, I guarantee I'm going to make you fucking hate him. And as soon as you're concluded that you hate him, I'm going to make you fucking love him again. It's like Wuthering Heights or something.
Oh yeah, it's totally that because you're like, oh, he's not such a
I
bad
know
guy.
I hate
was like,
Walter
no, he's a
White
fucking
no matter
piece of
what.
shit.
Like, I hate him. And then you're like,
I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Is I want to get a.
Downstairs?
Huh?
Is there a bathroom downstairs?
Oh no, no, we don't.
There's a hole in the bricks gonna hang next to it.
The Glorio?
I was watching Goon last night.
If you go into the showroom downstairs, it's right behind the drinking fountains.
Go that
Right
way.
where you would have put it if it were.
Yeah,
up
go that way to the back to the left.
Back and to the left.
Back and to the left. Back
I
and
didn't
to
know
the
where
left.
I was going. And I found it.
Did you find it? What I want to do is I want to get an advertiser, and I want to put their
a little
advertisement
card.
like right here. So
Yeah.
let's say like fucking beer company XYZ, and they can have a card right here, and it'll have that up the whole time. That we're
But you'll hear the
Maybe
talk.
put somebody here because I noticed when this was up, like I'm almost gone.
oh
And
yeah.
when that's back, not that it matters, but
I don't want to see you anyway.
it only matters for you guys, the hosts.
Well, I want to see the
We
guests.
should eat
talking,
these,
you
though.
know.
You guys want chocolate?
Dude, I can't eat that shit.
I mean, I'll
Fuck,
give
man, I
it.
can eat one of them.
I'll take it home, but I'm sure someone will.
I'm gonna take it back home if you don't open
No, you do it, and I want
Happy
to.
Valentine's Day.
I want to drink your beer, but I can't right now. Can I take one with? And I'll drink it. I'll drink it when I edit the show, and
Try
I'll tell
it.
you.
Try it.
I will.
It's interesting flavor, but yeah,
It's
take some.
it's a wheat beer.
Yeah, but I want to take it home because I can't have any more beer because I need to you know
Drive.
I need to keep it mellow.
It's close to a white rascal.
I don't know what a white rascal is.
It's like Avery.
Oh, it's got like a demon on it.
Dude, I become a light rail man. Just totally by accident. It delivers you directly to Pepsi Center.
Oh, I love. To go down to a game. Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh man, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Love it.
I will sometimes, if I know I'm going to tie one on, let's say.
I'm going to. If I go to the game,
I will ride my bike
I'm
to
going
the
to
light
spend the
rail,
$80 it takes to tie one on.
and I will take the light rail down, and then
I tell you, I left the day I quit. I was going to a concert that night at Pepsi Center, and I turned in my parking pass. I was like, I should have kept this.
oh yeah,
I was like, I really don't want to buy beer here now and give them money back, but
You get no choice.
that's expensive.
So the other night I was at the Nuggets and it was the Charlotte game. It was not a great game. And I'm sitting next to this black dude who's cut, like big dude. And his pants were like, I guess it's a thing now again where you cuff your pants up. It's a thing again. And it was like that. And he had tattoos. And he was kind of a bad motherfucker, right? And he's sitting next to it like a Tinder date. He's got like a Tinder date. And she's like this butch punk rock chick with the sides of her head shaved and a big shock of pink hair on top and tattoos on her neck. She's kind of a badass too, right? So I'm listening to them talk, and she says at one point, he was showing her a tattoo on his phone. He's like, "You should get this on your belly," and she goes, "Oh no, because I'm gonna have kids." And he like got visibly uncomfortable. It was really funny, and he had this popcorn, right? And there were like 3 rows ahead of us. There was this looked like a father and a son, a gray-haired fella and a 20-something fella. And he's throwing popcorn at him. And one of them spins around. The kid spins around. He looks at me like I'm the one throwing the popcorn at him, and I point to the dude next to me. Well, they come up the stairs, and it's the guy next to me is a former Denver Bronco. I'm trying to remember what his name was. And it was indeed a Tinder date. And the people coming up the aisle were Mario Vatanze, Mile High Mario, and his father.
Yeah.
Who's a famous chiropractor.
Yeah.
And he knew them.
Oh, gotcha.
And Mario was like, Colin. So he introduced me to the guy that was next to me, right? Whose name I've forgotten, which is embarrassing.
Terrell Davis.
That was it. No, it was somebody
John
else.
Elway.
It was a lesser name. But throughout the rest of the game, this guy and I became best friends, and we were talking.
No idea what his name was.
Talking nuggets, talking
besties.
It was awesome. You know, the Vitenzes brought me together
cool,
with this guy, and I was able to. We talked about they've got Dwight Howard, which for some reason he's not Dwight Howard, he's Dwight Howard. That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
And he has the biggest shoulders, the most beautiful shoulders and arms.
He looks like a superhero.
He does. He looks like an action figure.
Yeah, he does.
And we had that conversation. So.
All right, let's get into it.
We're in the 4th.
Yeah, we're in the 4th, but we're already at an hour. So
I'm trying to decide if I want to say
I
want to do 20. I just want to do 20 minutes. So
I got more end of the week.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's get into that. So did everyone have what they need to do?
I got to do a read, and then you're gonna do fucking music.
Okay, so I'm gonna
unmute
everybody.
All right,
unmute us. I should probably check Twitter, make sure that see if anyone's
check your mentions.
I tweeted a picture of Lord Boulding's cup.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Are all the people in the league salivating over it?
All 2 of them on Twitter.
Are there only 2 of them on Twitter?
I think so.
Well, let's see. Me, you, Chloe, Colin.
Let's see. Maybe 2 others.
Okay.
On Twitter. Because there's 3 of us. Yeah, I don't think so.
Audio sounds better, says Marcelo. See? That mic did it.
Thanks, Marcelo.
All right.
Thanks, Marcelo. All right.
Mutiny.
Go.
Mutiny Information Cafe is one of the most unique Denver spots that's left in this town. Everything's changing, but Mutiny's not. Thank God. Pinball machines. Used books, used records, used CDs, comic books, iced coffee where the ice cubes are made out of coffee. Ryan Boulding's visited Mutiny Information Cafe. He loved it. Everyone who goes there loves it. And the beautiful thing about it, you're not going to find one in Phoenix. You're not going to find one in San Francisco or any other place on God's green earth. It's uniquely Denver. It's Mutiny Information Cafe. And when you go there, please tell them the South Stand sent you. Loving that.
Yeah, baby. You can't hear it on the live stream because we'll get sued. So
jumping someone else's train.
I love Mutiny Information Cafe.
It's great.
I went there to buy a comic. I took my friend from Calgary there to buy a comic, and they have everything. You spend all day there.
Oh, they got great stuff. Yeah.
Jumping someone else's train is very relevant because right now there's the whole DIA train contest going on.
Ooh, yeah.
Trying to determine who's going to be the voice of the DIA train.
Oh, so this is your Moran of the week? The people nominated?
No, it's going to get better.
Vic Lombardi?
No, I think Vic Lombardi is a good choice, but I'm what's his fucking name? I'm an Alan Roach guy. I'm an Alan Roach guy.
He's awesome, but he's already on there. He says, "Hold on, please." Right?
No, but I mean, they're talking about replacing him.
He can't be more iconic. He does the Super Bowl. He's at the Olympics doing the Olympics.
He's got one of the best voices.
Let me throw a name out to you. Brett Saunders. Brett Saunders.
He's not even a nominee.
I know he's not. He should have been. He should have been on there.
It's irrelevant.
Come on, Brett Saunders has a great voice. It's very recognizable.
I love Brett Saunders, but I'm supporting Alan Roach. There's a lot of pressure on me to support Vic Lombardi.
Don't give in. Don't give in.
But I love the beauty of Alan Roach's voice, and I want him coupled with Kathy Saban.
I know. Yeah, I know you want to be coupled with Kathy Saban.
I would just once.
Just once.
And I don't want anyone to find out.
Why? Not your wife. You want your wife to find out.
Yeah, no, anyone.
No live.
Because if anyone finds out, it'll get back to my wife.
Okay.
That's what a small circle of the world I live in.
I understand.
It would have to be on like a business trip.
So speaking of a bunch of morons that want to be recognized, that do you have our great new segment that we've been doing in honor of Scottish Al.
Not Irish Al.
It's Scottish
Al.
He lives in Ireland, but he's Scottish.
And he wants to kill the Irish people, right?
He wants to kill them all. He hates them. And the English. He's okay with the Irish. He wants to kill the English. And we all want to kill the English.
Who can blame him?
Yeah, who can blame him?
Right.
We all want to.
They're like the Boston of there.
Yeah, really.
They're
really,
like the New England of England.
Yes, they are. And everyone wants to kill him. So, no, Scottish Al, he's up there. It's snowing where he is. He lives kind of up in the north of Ireland. And it's snowing there. I saw on his Instagram. But
he lives in Ireland?
He lives in Ireland. Yeah.
He's Scottish Al, but he lives in Ireland?
Scottish Al, he lives in Ireland. Yeah,
I'm
Northern
so
Ireland.
Now.
Northern Ireland, which is a part of England. So, it's it works out. So.
Okay. Well, is he one of those guys that carries guns and sells booze?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's him. That's him exactly.
Okay, I get it now. No, my moron of the week is the Mile High Report. And,
I forgot to get into this.
I've been blocked on Twitter by Mile High Report, and the reason I was is that I went to the website and I read a lot of the headlines, and I became critical of some of them because it's just crap. It's just the worst blogger garbage on the planet. And I put it out there on Twitter, and they blocked me. And I had writers that worked there for nothing, plagiarizing other people's material, sending me tweets like, why didn't you read it? Okay, why judge an article on the headline? I'm like, well, if that's your headline, I'm not going to read any further. So here are some of the headlines I had a problem with. Don't expect Donald Stevenson back next year. This is its headline. No shit, fucking Sherlock. Any Broncos fan knows that. Garrett Bowles had an up and down first season in the NFL. Good work, Mile High Report. Good job. Nobody knew that. Doma Kapeko was a key component to the 2017 Broncos defense. This is one of the specific ones where somebody got back to me and said, well, you didn't read the article. You just judged it on the headline. Why would I read an article where that's the headline? Yeah, no shit. Doma Kapeko was awesome. If you're a Broncos fan, you know this. If you listen to the radio, you know this. This is not necessary. I don't need to read this article. QB landscape in the AFC is why the Broncos should get Kirk Cousins. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? You fucking losers.
When can I jump in
here? Momentarily.
Okay.
Isaiah McKenzie, emblematic of a year off for the of an off year for the Broncos. Emblematic of Isaiah McKenzie sucked, and so did the Broncos. So nice job, Mile High Report. Jordan Taylor was a solid depth player in 2017. Awesome. Now you. Take me to school here. Why should I not be so critical of this shit?
I tuned out of the Broncos,
as we all should have.
So a lot of that, your Broncos. I tuned out of your Broncos, and so a lot of that, like the Isaiah McKenzie stuff, like I was kind of like, I'm not even sure what he did wrong, and I'm like, okay,
he was the punt returner.
Yeah, I know.
Fucked up every time.
He muffed the punt.
Yeah, he was awful. He was awful, but like
he had more muff than Kenneth Fareed's mom.
I stopped watching the Bronco games. Okay, so that's my thing. That's kind of beside the point. We know a bunch of people from there. Our buddy Ian Henson has a lot to do with over there. He's like
no,
he's not.
No, he's predominantly orange.
No. He runs Mile High Report.
No.
Ian Henson does.
No.
Yes.
Ian St. Clair runs Mile High Report.
No, I know
And he's
he
a good
does.
dude.
No,
He's a good dude.
Ian Henson has something to do with it too. Yes.
No,
yeah, he
but,
does.
then I'm sad.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Ian Sinclair is really good. Okay, so
No, Ian St. Clair's a great guy.
yeah, so
I mean, I've had nothing but positive experiences with him.
so
And he's the managing editor of Mile High Report.
yeah, so
But the work they're doing is fucking sad. Predominantly orange on the contrast. Sorry to interrupt you. I hate it when I do that. But you're so good and I'm so bad. Predominantly orange is doing really cool shit. Like thinking outside the box, giving me something to think about. I enjoy some of the articles there. When I look at Mile High Report, I'm just sad.
here's my thing. On Twitter, if you start ranting and raving on Twitter, and I find this out,
I'm a drunk. I do this shit.
and I find this out once a week. I go, damn it, why did I open my fucking mouth? Because now all I have to do is just talk to people about something.
At least it's not Facebook.
So
That's
true.
true.
It's not
That's
Facebook.
far worse. You
My
know all
point
those
is
people.
that if you have a point to say this is not good journalism, this is blogging bullshit, then you should write about it and put it into a story.
I don't want to take those guys down like that.
You took them down on Twitter
I
and
did
for
on
everybody
the
to see.
podcast too.
Yeah, and now on a podcast. So now you created a controversy because then they're like, oh, fuck this guy. And then you got all these writers going, shit, what's his problem? He's fucking slagging us off when I usually get along with this guy. Now, if there's something to be criticized, fair
I
enough.
would think they'd want to hear it, right?
Yeah, but I think the way you went about it was very adversarial. And it was kind of
true.
it was antagonistic.
God damn you.
So this is the part of the show where I walk back with the damage he's done.
About once every couple of weeks, John has to reel me in.
So I'm just saying, your criticism is probably valid, but the way you went about it was probably to those guys. They were like, "What the fuck did we do?"
Dude, the shit is so vacuous. It's just so.
I know, but who cares?
Nobody
cares
except me. Because I watch the world through the lens where I'm watching what these fucking people do, and so to me it kind of matters. Like Sire Bedinger is a guy who works at Predominantly Orange, and he's doing some neat shit. Like he just did an article that you can click on where he talks about what if Denver trades out of the 5th pick and signs Kirk Cousins.
What if Denver legalized weed, man? What about it?
What if? Here's some of the ramifications. Here's some of the things that would be downstream of that.
Fine.
If that were the way things. I'm not getting that at Mile High Report. What I'm getting is a bunch of just kind of regurgitated bullshit.
Let me give you an example. So you're going off on these guys, and then those other douchebags from the other fucking site that they charge people for, not BSN, that no one gives a fuck about.
Oh, those guys suck.
Those guys jumped on you about your follower count, which you've stated many times and wrote articles about, and how it was bought for you by that one douchebag.
Like 8 years ago.
Yeah, 8 years ago.
8 years ago. I wrote that.
So I got pissed off. And because one, I think those guys have no room to fucking talk and blah, blah. So I started talking a bunch of shit. And so I opened my mouth, right? Started opening my mouth. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about fucking people blogging from their couch and this and that. So then a bunch of those a couple of Mile High Report guys thought I was talking about them. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not in it. Then all of a sudden it becomes a big confusing fucking mess. And then I'm like, why did I open my fucking mouth? So if you feel comfortable doing that and dealing with the fallout, that's great. But what I'm saying is it's just pointless. And if you really don't want, if you think it's that beneath you, then you shouldn't give it any attention whatsoever. And that's my thing, is that I just go, you know what, this is nothing to me. And if it is nothing, if it's truly nothing, then I should never mention it.
And I hear where you're coming from, and I respect you for that. I am so much more petty. I have to, when I see these things, I have to fucking whine and bitch and tell somebody.
That's cool. I understand.
So I understand you are capable of saying this thing is not worth my time. This person is not worth my time, and and I totally respect that. I get it. I am a whiny internet bitch.
So you're the Moran of the week.
I am the Moran of the week.
Let's move on to something else, because we've got about 10 minutes.
Headline writing is an art, right?
Yes.
So you want to write a headline where somebody wants to read your article.
Absolutely.
So if you're going to give away what your article is in the headline, nobody's going to read it.
Like Garrett Bowles had an up and down season. Well, yeah, I
Sums it up.
Yeah, it sums it up. Yeah, you could, but see, you could say
There's not a Broncos fan alive that didn't think Garrett Bowles had an up and down season.
it's true. And
Well, yeah, but you didn't read the article.
He stood. for
Why the
anthem.
fuck would I read that
Yeah.
article?
he could have said, "Hey, Garrett Bowles, our opinion of his season could surprise you."
You've seen how critical I am of Jamel Hill on Twitter. I
Yes.
don't like Jamel Hill. I think she's a racist. Today, I was totally on board with her. There was a post that said
Did you tell her
college football game attendance and viewership. Attendance was down 18%, viewership 34%. And she just retweeted this link and she said, must have been the protesters. And I thought, okay, Jamel Hill, you win this round.
You should tell Jamel Hill that you appreciated her tweet and let her know, because I think that's only fair.
Probably so. Probably so.
What else you got, Colin? So we can.
Cord cutting. I just want to touch on this. I put an article up at southstandsdenver.com for more detail, but my wife is on me to get rid of the Comcast bill. The Comcast bill has gotten out of control. It's over $200 a month.
It's outrageous.
And it is absolutely punishing. However, there's one problem, and that is across the nation. It's not just here. The regional sports networks that carry the local games, Altitude TV and AT&T Sportsnet here locally. In other markets, it's other networks. They are still not participating in live stream. I made a complete cord cutting plan, and I was going to go with the DirecTV product, the streaming product. I was going to go with the AT&T internet, and I was going to go with a digital antenna so I could get channel 9 and 7 and 4 and all that stuff, and then Netflix and whatever else. So I had the whole plan made, and that was 50% of what we're paying for Comcast. But there's one problem. I can't get Altitude. I can't get AT&T Sportsnet. So I've been kind of via Twitter and via the blog trying to put a little pressure on these organizations to kind of figure this thing out. And the idea that I had, and I've had feedback directly from people at KSE via direct message saying, you know what, that's a good idea. It wasn't Ryan.
Wasn't
15
you saw him
game
go like this.
15 game fan plan includes streaming video for the entire season. So you buy for $300, you get 15 game fan plan for the home games. You get streaming video. For
I'd
the rest of the
fucking
year.
do that in a second.
Oh, who
I
would?
have a solution to your problem. Unrelated. I used a VPN service that was unblock-us.com.
That should you should not have to do that.
That's confusing.
It was so easy though. It was $5.99 Canadian, so I don't know what that is in real
No,
dollars.
I had a buddy of mine lives in Switzerland, and he tweeted me the same idea. Direct message. He's like, "Oh, just sign up for the deluxe package and use a VPN." I'm like, that's not the point.
Right.
That's not the point.
As
As a consumer, I want the teams to make this available.
Yeah,
to
they
me.
should make it
It's
available.
the leagues though, and this is something I followed closely because I'm all about cord cutting. And the NFL, I believe, got sued for blackout restrictions in markets and lost in the whatever appeals court, Supreme Court. Whatever
That explains why, when it comes to streaming, the NFL's no problem.
Right.
Every
So
single service includes whatever you want.
every league is following suit to an extent. but
I
then it's up to
heard
the
that KSE
regional
will have a
broadcasters.
deal with Disney. That
Well-
when Disney becomes available, which is supposed to be online this year.
Well, Disney just acquired a majority stake in Baseball Advanced Media. Baseball Advanced Media already runs NHL.TV and the NHL websites. Baseball Advanced Media also runs HBO Go and websites like that. So they have the infrastructure to do that. And once whatever deal is in place, it seems like every sport is following football's lead. Instead of getting sued, they're making regional blackouts a thing of the past, and that'll open up streaming options. But you need the infrastructure to do that.
MSG, which I'm assuming is Knicks and Rangers, they have a service right now because I saw it advertised.
They have streaming.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
that's awesome.
Because I saw it on a hockey broadcast.
Dude,
And
Altitude. The headline on my article was I want to cut the cord, but Altitude TV has it wrapped around.
because
my neck, and
look,
that's how I
so
feel.
same thing. So MSG, the Knicks, the Rangers. I don't know who else plays there. I think that's
They have a lot more sports. Like they have the Sabres even. Buffalo,
the MSG does.
Yeah.
So there's something. I think that's a streaming service. So you want to watch the Avalanche and the Nuggets, but you also
And the
want to
Rockies.
watch the Rockies. So that's the other thing too. And I don't. It's coming. I would guess. I guess it's down.
I
down
probably
the road.
watch 40 Rockies games a year.
Absolutely,
On
I watch the Rockies all the time. And I think that's something that they could, once they figure it out and they know how to do it properly, they can implement it and they'll make fucking tons of money off.
TV. You going out to spring training?
I am not going out to spring training.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, I'm going 23rd through 28th of March. So
okay.
like a month from now, I'm going out. And I'm excited because I last took my son when he was 12, which was almost 5 years ago. And
Are you guys gonna hit the strip
this
club?
is like, no, but I may make him stay in the hotel room while I go to Talking Stick and play poker one night. But it's going to be cool because he's probably not going to be around the house that much longer. So this may be our last spring training together. I don't even know if he'll give a flying fuck about it, but at least they have good concessions.
Oh, it's a great time. There was great food. We went to the main
Talking Stick.
Yeah, we went to that main one.
Salt River Fields is beautiful.
Yeah, it was really nice, and they had great food, and there was beer flowing, and it was a nice day. It was really nice. So,
Did you do the lawn, or did you sit? in
I
seats?
sat down on like the third base. The first base side, probably just beyond the first base. So
we
Not
took
club
seats
level.
to. We took
it was
seats
not
to-
club level. It was club level of that stadium.
We took seats to 3 games in 4 days. We're going to one game where we're sitting on the grass, and another game we have infield seats, and we're going to the Cubs facility and standing on their party deck. They have a party deck. It's called the Budweiser Party Deck.
Party zone.
Party zone, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're going for that because it was like $11. But the thing that surprises me is just how expensive it is to go to spring training. It's not cheap.
If I think it's going to be one of those things because people are like, "Fuck this winter bullshit in the ass," and I want to get the hell out of here.
Well,
And
winter.
the winter, yeah. Well, it's been cold last couple. Well, it wasn't cold today. Sorry, it was 60 degrees today. But 2 days prior, it was cold as hell. So
It was supposed to be 48 today. So hey,
it was
Saban,
60.
Kathy Saban, pick your game up. Now, but yesterday I looked; it was going to be 48. That's what Kathy Saban.
Are you
said.
driving or flying?
To spring training?
Yeah.
I'm flying.
Okay.
Picking up a rental car.
No family road trip.
No,
I did it last year. I drove straight. Actually, I went.
You guys should do that.
It's
Now
fun.
that you said that.
I bought a new car, and a week later, well, it was used, but I bought a car, and a week later, my dad and I drove down to Phoenix.
I should
for a
cancel
playoff
the
game.
fucking flights and
It
rental
was
car and
fun.
drive down.
It's 12 hours.
Oh, it's a great
It's
trip.
a good
Yeah, if you have 2
idea.
people,
There'd be some
because I played hockey and I fucking jumped right in the car and went, which sucked because you drink a bunch of water while you're playing and after it, and then I just had
Dude,
to
I'm
piss every
totally
fucking
onto
10
this
feet.
idea, man.
But yeah, you can do that. I can drive. If I'm rested,
I've
I
taken
can
to
drive.
Phoenix
I can
before.
drive. Yeah, I can do it on my own. It's
Yeah, I
no
did
big
it.
deal.
I did it on my own.
Yeah, it's no
It'll
big deal.
either make your relationship or break your relationship.
Probably break, but I like it.
It's awesome. Hey, let's get out of here. We're gonna wrap it
It's
up.
not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. It's good. It's good stuff. We went well over, but that's excellent. I know we have plenty more to talk to with Ryan, so you'll have to come back.
Part 2,
Part 2, sometime in the near future.
the after show.
Maybe when the playoffs start and my Avs are in the playoffs, maybe you come back then. Think they're gonna make the playoffs?
I'll come back whenever you want me to.
Okay. Do you think they're gonna make the playoffs?
No.
Yeah, I don't think they are.
I don't want to be a downer.
No, it's Dave.
My fantasy fucking team is making the playoffs.
Oh
I'll tell you
hell
that
yeah,
right now.
mine is too. Is yours?
I'm gonna make it. I'm not sniffing you guys right now.
No, you're definitely not. But I think they're farther ahead than they thought they were going to be, and even the fact that they were going to get a whiff of the playoffs is awesome, and they'll be even better next year. So it's good stuff. We appreciate it. Ryan, thank you for coming back after all these years. It's been wonderful having
It's
you.
about time. I'm
It's-
glad to be back.
it's
It's not
about
you. It was me.
I
so
understand.
I'm
Yeah, I understand. You were limited in what you could do during those years, but we're glad to have you back. And now you've been to the new studio, and we're happy to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
He's at Ryan Bolden.
Our Bolden.
Sorry. Is there a Ryan Bolden?
It's probably me.
Okay, that's
still
probably
have
it.
it.
He's at R Bolden on Twitter. You can check him out, and he's a good Twitter follow. So follow him soon. And until next time, this has been the South Stands Denver Fancast. Bronco Jeff, you did an excellent job. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It was excellent. We'll have you back soon. Until next time, adios.
We love you, Denver!
Grateful Dead. Cover of Ripple.
Yeah.
That's nice.
My first concert as a pre-born and post-born human being. Grateful Dead and Red Rock.
Wow, really?
Oh shit.
That's awesome.
70s.
So
Bring it down because the mics. This mic might pick it up, and then YouTube will fucking flag it. So.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
So I've been playing at Bovada since we got back from Vegas, and I've got 400 sunk, and I got like 340 in my account. So I cashed out 200. So I got 140 left, and it's been fun, man. I'm making like $5-10 bets.
Gambling's great, man.
I'd like $8 is my favorite bet amount for parlays, because if I make a 4-game parlay and I bet $8, usually the payout's 100. Been up and down, been up and down, been down, up and down.
I gotta turn that off.
Tonight, the fucking San Antonio Spurs were 6-point underdogs in Denver. It's just like, are you fucking shitting me? So I made my first $20 bet.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
$8 had been my highest bet dollar amount until tonight.
That's the thing. If you look
I'm
at
gonna
the
bet $20
NBA
on that.
lines every day, once in a while one will
Struggle
jump
with
out
this.
that's dead wrong, and that's
So much
a
Pull this.
It's 61.56 of that.
See you next time.